Center field. How far is it going to go? Far enough to make it 2-0. Acuna has done it again.
On Sports 1440.
Sort of cracks one deep left center field. Back Harris takes a look. So gets the Mets right back into this game with a 2-run home.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Judge and Steve for trade. David Cruz. Triple single homer. His team leading 18. He has erupted tonight. It's 5-1 Cincinnati.
What a terrific Tuesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, X and Instagram. We're everywhere. Wherever you want to listen to the show, watch the show, check it out. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, and it is Lotto Max, June 24th, today. $40 million up for grabs at PlayAlberta.ca. So there you have it. And Vasily Podkolzin, it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Vasily Podkolzin. Also, on a weird few other Oilers, former Oilers, Jarrett Stoll, Bernie Nichols, also born on this day of June 24th, and my nephew, Ethan. So, Ethan, happy birthday. There's lots to discuss. We've got the Hockey Hall of Fame. They've made their announcements on who will be in the 2025 class. We'll get to that in a second. Of course, it's draft week, but, man, there's lots of other things going on. You have to qualify restricted free agents. And the Edmonton Oilers, well, there's a few obvious ones that they will qualify. Well, one, Evan Bouchard. If he doesn't have a contract, he'll be qualified for sure by Sunday night. He is the only NHL player that needs a qualifying offer. Noah Philp, he'll be qualified for sure. I don't expect Cameron Wright and Jacob Perreault to get qualified. And I'm not sure on Olivier Rodrigue because the Oilers have they signed Nathaniel Day. Samuel Johnson is coming over. They do have Connor Unger, but he got hurt in the ECHL playoffs, and I don't think he's going to be ready to start camp. But they've got some other young goalies, and I'm not sold. I'll be curious to see what the organization. I'll say this: I think you can, if they don't qualify him, I think that's a little bit of a tip-off that maybe they expect to kind of have Calvin Pickard as their potential number 3 in the organization, and he would help mentor a guy like Nathaniel Day. I expect Samuel Johnson will likely start the season in the ECHL, I would guess, and go from there. Now, they could have both young guys, but it's rare to have 2 rookies in your AHL team at the same time. So Olivier Rodrigue, it's a small thing, hasn't been talked about a lot, but I don't think it's a lock for him to get a qualifying offer. We'll see what happens between now and Sunday. But Bouchard's an obvious one. Phillips an obvious one. I think Perreault and Wright not getting qualified, especially with all the guys that they've signed this summer. Szymanski and Quinn Hudson last year. Margiola. They got a lot of guys. So I don't see him. Yarventi's healthy, right? So there's 4 new guys. Somebody's got to go out. So Drake Caggiula's already signed in Europe, so there's one guy. Lane Peterson, I don't think maybe they'd bring him back. We'll see. But I could see them sign another AHL guy. So we'll talk that. The Edmonton Elks, not great news on the injury front, as Beard is on the 6-game injured list for the Elks. So I guess, you know what? Sometimes you get lucky with timing. And today on the show, we have Mark Corte, who is now going to be playing center on Thursday. So perfect timing because he's going to be on the show. So we'll talk about that switch for him and what it means. We got Dave McCarthy will be by. Kurt Hill, the GM of the Oil Kings, made a big trade yesterday. We're still waiting. Coaching announcement. Hey, maybe he'll make it today on the show. We'll see. Sam Cosentino will join us. We'll talk some more draft. We got Spec. We got DVD. Terry Ryan will be by. Also, Oliver Platt will join us. Big match tonight for Canada in CONCACAF in the Gold Cup, man. They got a draw last game, which, you would expect a better result. Not terrible, but you thought you beat Caraco. Now you have El Salvador tonight. So that is a big game for Canada. You definitely you want to win for sure. For sure, you need a win there. Well, I said they don't need a win, but qualifying to get a tie for sure, bare minimum a draw. So that would be good. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox, and text flying in already. So we love it. People are fired up. Lots to discuss on the show for the Oilers. And you look at the NHL Calder Cup was announced. So the championships, NBA's done, AHL's done, NHL's done. But the big announcement today came the Hockey Hall of Fame. And after many years, I've been talking about this one. I thought this was long overdue. But Elmo, Alexander Mogilny, is going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I think it's overdue, and he's in, and that rights a wrong in my book. So Mogilny's in, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Joe Thornton, all first ballot Hall of Famers, and they're in. And I think deservingly so to get in. You also have Brianna Decker, Jennifer Botterill for women players. And in the builder category, Jack Parker and Danielle Sauvageau. So congratulations to all 8 who will be inducted. Sometime in November is when they have the ceremony. So big for them. Chara, Keith, Mogilny, Thornton. That's pretty good class. No question. Botterill and Decker, longtime players, and had a lot of success in the women's game. So kudos to all of them. What a thrill. What an absolute thrill it would be to go in. But that's a pretty good class. Pretty good. 2 forwards, 2 D-men up front, and then 2 forwards as well on the women's side. So kudos to all of them going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. No, there's no real debate for me. I know people say, hey, Carey Price will get in. Right? Alexander Mogilny, to me, this was long overdue. Carey Price has to wait 1 extra year. No big deal. And then Carey Price will get in the immediate future. I don't see much of a problem. Hey, Gregor, do you think Klim Kostin will get qualified? Sneaking 4th left wing ad, if not, from Propane Pimp. I do not believe he will get qualified by the San Jose Sharks. Actually, I can tell you with certainty that he's not going to get qualified. He was making over $2 million, right? He was a healthy scratch, barely played. So, no chance he's getting qualified. He'll be an unrestricted free agent. Now, Klim Kostin, there's a prime example of a player who, now, Klim Kostin can play a 5-on-5. You know what? His best time was in Edmonton. And there's something to be said. Now, I get it. He made $4 million. He wasn't going to make $4 million here. So, okay, he made his money. Could he come back in Edmonton on a 1-year deal at league minimum? Sure. But keep in mind, Klim Kostin did not play a regular shift in San Jose down the stretch. Now, I don't know what happened there, but he was a healthy scratch. They weren't playing him. I don't think he wanted to play. Wasn't happy there. So could he come to Edmonton? He liked it here, yes. But coaches didn't love him defensively, but we'll see. I think he'll get better. Like, if you look at Florida's 4th line and you look at Greer and you look at Gadjevich, big physical players, well, Klim Kostin brings you an element that you don't have on your 4th line right now. So I'd have no problem with Klim Kostin at a low end, 775, 800, 850. That's where he's at. So I could see it. Though he would be, he'd be a depth signing. And I think he would come back here. He liked it here, but he would need to be a little bit more consistent in his play. if he's going to stay here. Let's just say that. That's how I view it with him. Hey, Greg's, what do you think of Tanner Jeannot? You think he could recover from his spark from Nashville? Well, he's never scoring 24 goals again. It was an unbelievable year for Tanner Jeannot. I've watched Tanner Jeannot since he was in the Western League, and I'm telling you, he was never really a big scorer there. I know he did score in his final year as a 20-year-old. He scored a lot of goals there as a 20, just because he was bigger and stronger than everyone else. Like, he is huge. Like, he is a legit probably 225. He's strong. I would take Jeannot over Klim Kostin all day, every day. Not even close, right? So if I had a choice, if you're going to lose Evander Kane and, you could sign Tanner Jeannot, 100%. Now, Tanner Jeannot, right, like he scored 24, but, since then he scored 6 goals, 7 goals, 7 goals. Probably more what he is. He's an unreal human being. I'll tell you that right now. Like, because there's things that you want in players. He's tough. He's physical. He's responsible. He can kill penalties. He's mean, but he is a really good dude. So if I was Edmonton and I had the choice, I'm taking Tanner Jeannot all day over Klim Kostin. I'm sorry. I know Oilers fans, you haven't seen Jeannot, but he's a better player than Klim Kostin. He's much better responsible defensively. And you know what? He's a few years removed from that 24 goal season. That was like the perfect storm for him. Everything he shot went in. My question would be, he's probably going to go to market, and he would be smart to do it. He's 28, right? Young guy. I'd do it for sure, because there's not many players like him, and he'll probably, the problem is he probably might cost you more than what you're going to get. But when you're big and strong and you bring other elements, it's not just goals and assists. So if you're going to trade Kane and then I have Trent Frederick and Jeannot, all right. I don't mind that. But all of it depends on what's his AAV. I like it can't be, for me, like more than, like, his last contract, I think, was 2.6. There's no reason you should get a raise, in my opinion. Like, if you sign him at like 1.75 because of the physicality stuff, then yeah, I would be very much interested in that type of deal for the Edmonton Oilers. I think it would be very good. Hey, Gregor, Dante Fabro and Henry Jokiharju are both UFA right shot D-men, previously linked to the Oilers. Would you look at signing either Rockford? No. The Oilers have already lots of defensemen signed. They're going to need goaltending first, fill out their forward roster second. Then, if Fabro's still a free agent in late July or August, then I would consider it. But I don't think Dante Fabro brings you what you want. They're not top 4 defensemen. The Oilers have lots of third pair right shot defensemen. I'm not signing another one at that point. I wouldn't do it if it's me. No chance. Hey, Gregor, what are your thoughts on Theo Fleury in the Hall of Fame? Don't see it happening. Hey, Greg, are there any European goalies looking to come over? Koskinen-esque? It's a good question. There's Prosvetov. He was in the NHL, then he went back to the KHL, had a really good year, but it's the KHL. It's more of a defensive game, but he had a really good year. And he wouldn't be the first goalie who needed a reset, shall we say. So he would, if I was picking one off the top of my head, that would be the one that I would discuss. So, hey, Greg's, any idea why it took so long for McGillney to get in from Dave Q? Honestly, I don't know, Dave. I know some people said, well, it's because of the war in Russia. I'm like, Pavel Datsyuk got in last year. McGillney has been retired a long time. I don't understand it. But you know what? The great part is it doesn't matter now. He's in, and whether you get in your first year or your 10th year, it doesn't matter. You're still a Hall of Famer. I don't think, getting in on the first time or second is great. But now that Alexander McGillney gets that call and they say you're a Hall of Famer, now he's a Hall of Famer. There's not like a wing of first ballot Hall of Famers, then you're in the second ballot Hall of Fame, right? You're all Hall of Famers. We all know there's some that are different. I thought McGillney deserved to be in, and now he's in. So that's good. Hey, Greggs, would you try to bring in Varlamov and run a tandem with Skinner for a year? I think there is virtually no chance that he gets moved out of Long Island. I think if you were looking for a goalie from Long Island, then you'd be shooting a lot bigger and looking up at Mr. Sorokin, who obviously I think would be incredibly difficult to acquire in a trade. But Semyon Varlamov's he's got 2 years left on his deal. He's 37 years of age. He was banged up last year. No, I probably would look elsewhere just because is he starting to break down now? He's 37 years of age and he's got another year in his deal. I probably wouldn't do that. Hey, Greg's, how about Ehlers on McDavid line? Too expensive. The Oilers they're trading Evander Kane, not because he isn't a good player, because they need cap space to sign Evan Bouchard. So the Oilers have no cap space to sign Nikolai Ehlers. How do you do that? Unless you're going to move off another big ticket on the Oilers. And I know people bring up Darnell Nurse. We've talked about it on the show. So I looked up the numbers because a lot of people the Oilers are going to start next year and the cap is, it's going to be $49 million between 4 players. That's right. But did you know that if you go, the salary cap will be $104 million when McDavid's new deal kicks in? And let's just assume it's 16 mil. So then it's $49.25 million. That takes up 47% of the cap. Florida won the cup this year with their top 4 guys, Reinhart, Tkachuk, Barkov, and Bobrovsky, all making 43.5% of the cap. But if you add in Ekblad and Verhaeghe, the top 6 in Florida made up 59% of their cap. Edmonton's top 6 next year, if Bouchard's at 10 mil, or the following year when McDavid kicks in, you got Bouchard, you got Nurse, you got Draisaitl, you got Hyman, you got Nugent Hopkins. Because Ekholm's contract is done, and he's not going to get a raise. They would come in at 57.7%. So top 6. And then and keep in mind, Florida's top 6 was a goalie, a defenseman, and 4 forwards. So Edmonton's would be 4 forwards and 2 defensemen. So I don't think it's as difficult as people think because the cap has gone up so much. So you could do it. And as I've outlined before, I think Darnell Nurse, after the first year of McDavid's deal, he then has a limited no trade clause. And now it opens it up to move him to half the teams in the league. Actually, even more than that. I think he only has a 12. I'd have to double check on how many it is. But, that's kind of where you could do it. I don't think the cap is going to be as devastating as you think when you just look at what Florida won with. Florida won because they had a lot of other guys. Look at Brad Marchand's contract. Look at Sam Bennett. He was making 40. Sam Bennett wasn't even the top. You throw in, where was Sam Bennett? I think he came in 9th or 10th highest paid player on their team. Right? He was huge. Brad Marchand, what he came in at. Because, remember, there was only a portion of his contract that counted. So he came in and not even in the top 10 highest paid guys in their team. Not close. So, the Oilers, it hasn't got talked about a lot. And I know people said, their depth wasn't good enough. Well, as I've outlined, in the playoffs, the Oilers, without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, outscored their opponents 25-14. In the Cup final, it was 4-4. So in the first 3 rounds, it was 21-10, and then it was 4-4 in the final. It wasn't, I don't know if I would agree that that's what cost them the series. The top guys got outscored, which was complete opposite of what happened in 2024. So each year is going to be different. You're going to have different tweaks. Zach Hyman's healthy. That could change some things for sure. But as far as Nikolai Ehlers goes, the Oilers, I don't see having money right now unless they're going to move out other big money to get a guy like Nikolai Ehlers. Hey, Gregor, Cujo not getting in is a travesty. 7th in wins. That is a joke that he is not in. Curtis Joseph, he's a really good discussion point. I think he might eventually, get in. But he's a top goalie. He at his top of his game, he was obviously incredibly athletic. There's no debating that, right? And he played for a long time, won a lot of games. I think now wins are the one stat though. If you look at his save percentage relative to other guys, and then goals against average, not as good. So, that's a factor for sure. Goalies don't necessarily get in a ton. It probably hurt Cujo that he was never on a great team. Not his fault, but for some people that probably goes against him. Right? I would look at Sergei Bobrovsky's career And if you look at it right now, he's played 700. He started 740 games. Cujo started 916. Bobrovsky has 429 wins. Cujo has 454. Bobrovsky has 2 Stanley Cups. Cujo has none. Shutouts are 51 to 49 in favor of Joseph. Goals against average, 258 Bobrovsky, 279 Joseph, 914 save percentage Bobrovsky, 906 save percentage Curtis Joseph. Bobrovsky's got 190 games more if he plays them to like next year, he'll probably pass Cujo in wins. If he wins 25 games, he passes Curtis Joseph. So Bobrovsky probably then, and then there's Carey Price. They probably both jump ahead of him. So yeah, it might be tough for him to get at one point. See how it goes. Connor Halley is with us. Con man, how you doing?
Doing good, Jason. Doing good. Yeah. Kind of intrigued right now. The NFL offseason in full swing. We got tight end you on the screen in the studio, which is great. And like you said, talking just about Marc Courtier, just what's going to come up here, just the simplicity. It's people might think, oh, you're moved from guard to center. It's a foot, but it opens up a whole new world of things that he's responsible for. Really looking forward to that discussion, to hear his breakdown on, what responsibilities are added by jumping to the center position. Yeah, it's a big position, man. Like, it's so important on that O-line. You got a young quarterback. You're still trying to work with him. So there's lots, I think, on tap for Corty to discuss today on the show. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Big games, baby. There's lots of them. We also we'll talk about all of the players, kind of behind the scenes qualifying offers. There are going to be some other players that become unrestricted free agents between now and July 1st. We'll open up the market a little bit. I'm going to say this right now. I think this summer, you're going to get back to some teams making some big overpays on free agents. I'm just going to say it right now. There's quite a bit of money available, not a ton of high-end players. And there's some teams that are going to get bid happy, and you watch some of the AAVs that come out of it. Quick break. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Bring the whole crew on Sunday, June 29th at 4 p.m. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC Terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Troll low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, the best way to beat the tariffs by Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:28. Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. Hope you're having an awesome day. Woo-hoo. Man, there's so much going on in the sports world. I love it. I know people are always like, oh, the playoffs are over. There's nothing to talk about. Are you kidding me? There's so much to talk about. Free agency, RFAs, trades, drafts. There's so much else going on in sports. You got the NBA draft tomorrow, NHL draft on Friday. You got CFL action going on. You got MLB. Heck, you got the World Cup for teams, for clubs, I should say, not teams, happening. It's awesome. Stingers, Riverhawks, if you're a WNBA fan, lots of golf still happening. Man, Scheffler's having himself a year, isn't he? Ooh, mama, he is having himself a year. And, of course, there's the Euro Cup coming up. You got CONCACAF Gold Cup. There's lots happening as we get to our footy report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca. As we are going to talk a little Canada soccer as Canada takes on El Salvador tonight. Oliver Platt joins us from One Soccer. Oliver, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
Oh, I'm excellent. I guess before we get to tonight's match, just what were your thoughts when you take a step back from the game on Saturday for Canada?
Yeah, it was probably the worst performance I think they've had under Jesse Marsh. It was really disappointing from start to finish. You know, I think a lot was made of the end of the game, and that was troubling. And, you know, you could see maybe the absence of Jesse Marsh on the sideline and some of the decision-making, the substitutions, the adjustments that they made as the game kind of got away from them and they lost control of it a little bit. And that obviously ends up in Curacao scoring that late goal. But I thought throughout, to be honest, they just never really got going. They played against a team that was, a long way off them in terms of talent, but I think posed some kind of interesting problems for them in some ways. And obviously the heat was a factor as well. So disappointing, but I think you can say optimistically that was not really anywhere near full strength for Canada. And when they've been at full strength or close to it based on the players they have available, there's some other results have been pretty good, as we saw against Ukraine and Honduras. So hopefully just a bit of a blip on the radar.
Yeah, that's kind of, is it one game where, maybe after Honduras, they got a little bit maybe overconfident. We'll see. But now you got El Salvador coming in tonight. And if there's anything that they play a fairly aggressive, physical style. Yeah,
they're a team with, mostly players playing in their domestic league. And so I think there's kind of a pretty consistent identity running through them. They know what they're about. They fight. They play with a lot of pride, I think, to represent their national team. So those things can be difficult to play against. At the same time, Canada has the quality advantage by a significant amount. And based on what we've seen so far, there's maybe the worst team in the group compared to Honduras and Curacao. So you would expect, I think, we'll see what kind of lineup Jesse Marsch selects and who he feels needs rest for this one and who's ready to go. But you would expect, I think, probably something closer to their strongest 11 and a team that Canada should be able to take care of fairly comfortably.
When you look at that scratches tonight, is there anybody you see as an obvious one that will rest?
Well, the big question, I think, is around Jonathan Davids, because he's obviously such an integral player to them, and more so than ever under Jesse Marsch. I think he's become the most important player in this team. But he's played, back-to-back games, 90 minutes. It's a little bit of a surprise still to a lot of people that he's even here at this Gold Cup, obviously, as a free agent looking for a new club and signing the biggest contracts probably of his life in the next month or so. So does he get a rest? I think that would be the big question. Or is he someone who just wants to play and keep going, particularly in a game where Canada does need, to get the right result in order to seal the group and win the group? Nathan Saliba would be another one who's done really well. But again, after playing the first 2 games, you give him a bit of a break and rotate a little bit. Other than that, though, I think it'll be pretty close to their best team.
You look at the injuries that Canada has now, and, some key players, but you would think, Alphonso Davies should be ready to go for the World Cup next year. Is this a positive in the sense, because with some key guys hurt, there's now more minutes for other guys to show what they have, and this maybe overall improves the depth for Canada?
Yeah, 100%. And obviously that, maybe came up a bit short in the Curacao game, but I think the summer more generally and the games they played before that one, it's been the biggest positive, I think, is the way players with very few caps, younger players, not much international experience, have really stepped up and shown that, they're in a place now where they can contribute and be a part of this team. And with some of them, you think in a year's time, they could potentially be really important players going into that World Cup. Nathan Saliba, I just mentioned, it looks like he's off to Europe from Montreal. So he's going to get a chance to take a big step forward and already looks like he belongs in that midfield. Luke de Fougereau at centre-back, again, a young player, not with much first-team experience, but with talent. He's going to play some first-team football, I think, over the next 12 months with his club situation. And these are positions that Canada really needed to establish some more depth and some more options. And, the absence of players like Davies, Eustachio for the time being, and Moise Bombito has really opened up those opportunities.
Oliver Platt joins us talking Canada, El Salvador. So, let's say do they just need a tie to guarantee first in their pool, or do they need a win?
No, I believe they need a win to guarantee first. They're almost certainly qualified for the next round. El Salvador would have to beat them by 5 or something like that. That's not going to happen. So they're going to go through, but it's winning the group that they've left themselves with a little more doubt with that result against Curacao. But get the job done tonight, and they'll be winning the group and fine.
And so we know that Mexico is taking on Saudi Arabia. USA takes on Costa Rica. So if Canada wins tonight, who are they most likely to take on in the quarters on either Saturday or Sunday?
So those games in Group C will be happening before the Canada game tonight. So they'll have an idea going in. It's probably going to be Jamaica or Guatemala. Panama will probably win that group, so they'll avoid them if Canada win their group, and face whoever goes through of Jamaica and Guatemala, who are both on 3 points going into tonight's games. Jamaica have the harder game against Panama. So one of those two should be winnable. And again, you'd much rather face one of those teams than Panama, who have been one of the big stories of CONCACAF over the past year or two. They've really kind of put themselves in that top four conversation.
And then if you look at the semis, is Canada on Mexico or USA's side?
If they win the group, they'll be on the US's side.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is, again, another big benefit of winning the group is that if Canada's not on the US's side, the US has a bit of a cakewalk potentially to the final. So, yeah, again, that would be another benefit of getting the job done tonight.
You look at, Jesse Marsh. Now, he got cleared of any wrongdoing in the last game. So is he on the pitch tonight then? He'll be back?
Yeah, he'll be back, which, as we saw against Curacao, maybe is a bigger factor than we'd thought, particularly when it comes to adjusting in the second half of games. So hoping now, I think a lot of people are hoping on both sides that maybe they can draw a line under all of that. It's been a distraction. It's not been great to have Marsh not on the bench. And I don't think it's been great for CONCACAF either. Like, they don't like being accused of institutional bias and players getting poisoned and all of this kind of stuff. So it sounds like over the past few days, there's been a bit of de-escalation there and maybe an agreement to kind of shake hands and move on.
Oliver, looking kind of maybe bigger picture here. What's your thoughts on the FIFA, Club World Cup and, kind of how it goes? There's obviously been a few lopsided scores in that tournament thus far, but is this a good thing? Do you like it? Like, it seems to be getting a lot more traction, at least in North America.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings. I think sometimes there can be like a very European-centric view of these things where there's more cynicism and skepticism, I think, of the competition in Europe than there is in the Americas. Obviously, the States are getting to host it. The South American teams, I think, are quite up for it, getting to test themselves against the top European teams.
Right.
So I think that, you could go through the history of football and you look at when the World Cup first started or when the European Cup, that's now the Champions League, first started. There were skeptics then, people who didn't like it, people who said it was taking away attention from the national leagues and so on and so forth. So it can be a bit reactionary, I think, to kind of just, automatically say you're against it without actually seeing how it goes. That being said, I do think that there are some obvious concerns with just like the amount of games on the schedule nowadays, the lack of rest for the players, particularly with the obviously the International World Cup coming next summer, and some of the things with the format of the competition as well. Obviously you want to represent the whole world, but you've got semi-pro Auckland City from New Zealand are in the tournament, but Liverpool, champions of England, aren't. So how reflective is it as a true Club World Cup, So there are some things that I think probably need to be looked at in that concern. But yeah, it's an interesting idea and something that I think could have some potential.
Do you see it being something where a Canadian team would get in the near future?
Yeah, well, obviously the Whitecaps were so close, right,
Yeah.
to getting in for 2029, I think is the next one. So that was a little bit of a letdown in that Champions Cup final not to see them. That would have to be the route, is through that CONCACAF Champions Cup, which the three MLS clubs have all gone close to winning in recent years, but probably only the Whitecaps look like they're particularly close at this moment in time.
Oliver, quickly give me your thoughts on what's going to happen tonight, Canada, El Salvador.
I'm hoping for a bounce-back performance. I think Canada tends to respond pretty well to setbacks and to disappointments. I think you're going to see more of a balanced 11 in terms of the players that are selected as well. And I think probably what a lot of Canadian fans are looking forward to seeing and hoping to see more of is Promise David in the attack. I think he could get a start tonight too. So I'll back Canada to win by multiple goals.
All right, Oliver, thanks for this. We'll be watching. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jason. Have a good one.
That's Oliver Platt from One Soccer, as of course tonight, Canada, El Salvador. You can check that game out in the Gold Cup. Now, if they're victorious, then they would play. If I'm looking at the proper schedule here, they would be playing on Sunday, and likely. I think they would most likely then be taking on Guatemala, unless Jamaica can defeat Panama. So, and I guess then if Jamaica beats Panama, I have to look at the tiebreaker, but I think then they would play Panama. So still lots on the line tonight, depending on how those early games get going. Of course, Canada, El Salvador will get going at 8 o'clock tonight, Edmonton time. Later this week, we've got the Edmonton Elks. We'll get to that. We got a lot of text on the Oilers and free agency. Player I'd mentioned earlier that very good chance might not be getting a qualifying offer. We'll get to that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
When you look at a pipe, we just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring. Right now, GS Construction is looking for experienced foremen to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at the Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals, like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sectionals. Queen beds start at only $199. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $499 or more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
Mr. Rooter toasts the newlyweds.
A relationship is like a hot water tank. It brings warmth, but only if you start with a spark. Your love is the pilot light, and the burner is your love growing from that tiny spark. And the anti-corrosion anode rod is the sacrifices you make for each other to keep things from getting all gross and crusty. May your love last as long as a Mr. Rooter workmanship guarantee. For life.
For a plumber you'll keep for life, call Mr. Rooter.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer on the Rocks.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkells, live at OTR. Live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PBR.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
When you get into a new Tundra, you might suddenly find yourself towing a vintage wooden boat to the lake. Not because you know anything about boats or wood, but because you know you can. All that's left to do is drive it home. Get in and go right now at Toyota, where you can lease a 2025 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $154 weekly for 60 months at 5.39% with $7,199 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com. Experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Celebrate Canada Day with a game on Tuesday, July 1st at 4 p.m. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
Tonight.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:45. Oh, great song. A little bit of an upbeat tune on a Tuesday afternoon. Hope you're having a lovely day. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you get in the game, use the promo code Gregor50. That's a Gregor50, and you get a free $50 play. Good luck at PlayAlberta.ca. It's time now to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL provides a platform for U12, U14, and now for this season, U16. As they keep expanding, girls get older. Now with the PWHL expanding to the West Coast, need more opportunity to play, and that's what they'll give you at femalesuperleague.com. Coming up in a few days, the Edmonton Elks, third game of the season. They'll be looking for a victory. And offensive lineman who is now going to be a center for the game on Thursday, Mark Corte, joins us. Mark, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, Mark, you know what? It doesn't seem like it's a big move from guard to center when you look at simply the distance traveled. But there's a lot more responsibility. Kind of walk me through how this changes for you the last few days of preparation, now knowing you're going to be the center.
I'm sure it is. Like it's one foot over, but it's a totally different job. There's, I think the biggest move obviously is, the aspect of directing the line as a whole and making sure that all of our blocking schemes are targeting correctly. So that's a big piece of it, preparation-wise. So that'll be interesting. There's a few techniques that change as well, but something I'm comfortable with having played center in the past. Should be a fairly manageable move, but certainly not a small move at all.
No. And then just do you spend extra time working on the snap with Trey Ford?
Yeah, that's always, and every quarterback kind of has, some quarterbacks are taller, some are shorter, some like a faster snap, some slower. So, that's a bit of figuring out to do, but, having worked with Trey in the past, it's a little bit ironing out, but it worked out pretty well. So, just getting used to each other, I'd say, is the biggest thing, because he's been getting used to David, for the past 2 months or so with training camp, and now he's got to switch back to me. So, feeling out for sure.
So, Mark, you look at the team. I know you guys are desperate. You want to win. Slow starts have been a problem the last few years for the team. And I know it's a whole new regime and everything's different, but ultimately you want to get wins. So you look at the first two games, and I guess let's just start from an O-line perspective. How would you evaluate, what went right? I guess let's start there. What have you liked about the O-line play through 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think we took a good step from week 1 to week 2 in terms of running the ball, and especially on first down early in the game. I think in week 1 we struggled with getting 5-6 yards on a first down so we can run the ball again. I think we did a better job of that against Montreal. Also, we're able to get in the second week able to get some bigger runs that are 10-15 yards plus. That was nice to see. That was good. And then the protection piece, I think the pockets have started to clean up, from week 1 to week 2. And I think that trend of a little bit better protection and being able to run the ball a little bit more efficiently, especially on first down and early in the game, I think that's something that's trended well and is going to continue to keep going.
Now, what are the areas that you feel like, okay, we got to shore up and we're going to have to shore them up quickly this week?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, especially as you move in, you've got guys making moves across the line. We've just got to make sure that our communication is good, that everyone's kind of on the same page. Like for myself, moving to center, Mark Evans played the game at PC at tackle. Now he's moving from right tackle to left guard. So he's got to, make sure that everything's looking right through his eyes. And we've just all got to get comfortable playing in our new spot. So that's probably the biggest thing that I'm I'm making sure it's going to work out correctly. On top of just continuing to clean up techniques and whatnot that is worked on every week, no matter what.
And you mentioned Trey Ford and getting used to him. He's a young quarterback. He's still working on, and the one thing is, and I don't know how you can help a player with this, but I heard this saying a long time ago, and I think it's valid. The weight of the crown is a lot heavier than people think. And when now you come into the season and you're looked upon to be the starting quarterback, there's obviously lots of expectations and lots of pressure. How can you help a young guy kind of deal with the weight of the crown?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Trey's handling it well, like in his own head, of that gravity that comes with being a true starting quarterback and being the guy that's looked to take us as far as we can. I think he's handling it well. I think as a player that's a couple years older than him and has seen quarterbacks go through that, I think he's fairly confident, but it never hurts to have someone pick you up, especially when you've lost the first two and dropped those games. Not that those are his fault, but just to keep his confidence up and make sure that he knows that we got his back and that we're here to support him. I think there's never too much of that you can do for a quarterback that's new to the role.
Your head coach has been around the league a long time, but hey, it's different. You mentioned, hey, it's different responsibility going from guard to center. Well, it's a different responsibility going from a coordinator to being a head coach. As players, how have you kind of seen how your new head coach is handling? What do you like about Killam as a head coach?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job, and I think one of the things that that gets added onto your plate when you become a head coach is all that sort of interpersonal communication with players and how they interact with the team as a whole. And I think he's done a really good job of creating an environment where players trust coaches and coaches trust players, and we're all on the same team. And I think that's something that is not necessarily the job of position coaches and coordinators, but when you go to a head coach job, that's what one of the things you need to do. And I think he's handled that really well of making sure guys feel like their families are looked after, making sure guys feel like their voices are heard in the locker room and in the meeting room. I think he's done an excellent job of that. So that's been very nice to see from a first-time head coach.
And on the offensive line, your line coach was really the only coach who carried over from last year, so there wasn't much kind of new in that regard. But Mark, just getting together as a group and it's kind of a crazy stat that the team hasn't won a game in June since 2019. Now, I know that's a little bit longer because of COVID and stuff, but still, getting off to a good start, it just psychologically it helps. How imperative is it to not get down, but at the same time, find a way to get a win here so this doesn't stretch into 4, 5, 6 games like it has in previous years?
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Is to have a sense of urgency, but maintain a calmness, but make sure that we need to get off the ground here and get that first win, and understand that once we get it, things will build from there. And understanding that it's going to be okay, but we need to start winning sooner rather than later. So that's a line that I think we all have to walk 2 games into the season here. We're making sure that the confidence stays, but we're ready to win right away here.
Mark Cartier joins us. Going to be playing center this week with the injury to David Beard at the center position. So now you move from guard, now you obviously have played both positions before, but not only you moving the position, what about the O-line now that you move? So, it's kind of a trickle-down effect. How does that impact continuity at all?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because now there's 2 changes, right? And I think that's the way that we get our best 5 guys built. And so now I moved to center. And the nice thing with that is that, both of our tackles with Brett Boyko and Marchez Ivy, they're comfortable with it because they've been there when I've played center in the past. And then, Mark Evans has been around with us through camp, had a really good camp and a good start to the season. So he'll slot in next to Martez, and we've kind of got a good amount of guys that have been around and that know the system very well, and then some guys that are learning really quickly in Evans and Gregor McKellar. I think from a continuity piece, it's actually quite a bit better than it looks. The 2 guys that are new this year, and for Mark Evans new this week to the left guard spot, they're both playing between two guys that know this system very well and have been around for a long time. So I think it'll be fine. I'm not super worried about. Sometimes you worry when you have a new guy in the lineup of how they're going to fit in. I'm really not worried about that, which is a convenient piece for sure.
Now, what about the D line or really overall the defensive front seven in Winnipeg? How do you attack them to have success?
Yeah, they're a very good team, and they play well together. Speaking of continuity, they've been together for a long time, so they all know where each other are going to be. They're always in the right spot. So I think the biggest thing with playing a team like that is making sure that we're doing what we need to do correctly and doing it at a high level. If we can handle that and make sure that everything fits up correctly in the blocking scheme, I think we'll be okay there. They're certainly good players that'll make their plays throughout the game, but so are we, and we'll take advantage when we get a chance as well. So just a matter of making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. If we can manage that, we'll be in great shape.
Well, Mark, best of luck on Thursday. We really appreciate your time. Have an awesome day. And hey, by the way, congratulations. How's fatherhood going? I know it's only been a few days.
Yeah, thank you. Fatherhood's been good through the first couple days. It's been a pleasure. My wife is something of a natural at motherhood, so that's been helping me a lot. She's doing a great job, and it's been an absolute blast. It's already the joy of my life so far has been raising our daughter for the first couple days.
And what's your daughter's name?
Emma.
Emma.
We're very excited.
And
Emma.
when was Emma born?
Just a couple days ago, over the weekend on the off day there, between the off day and coming back to practice. So
okay.
We're thrilled about that.
Well, I got some good timing then, so she'll come in, and sooner than later she'll be wheeling around on the field following Dad after games.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to having her at the stadium and being a part of the Double E family.
Awesome, thanks, Mark. Best of luck in Winnipeg.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
There you go. That's Mark Orte. Of course, he'll be playing center for the Elks now. David Beard is out for probably minimum 4 weeks. I know he's on the 6 game. They put him on 6 game, but you can come off a game or two early if possible. But that's obviously not great. But we'll see. Hey, injuries happen, and the Elks they're going into a hornet's nest in Winnipeg. It's a very tough place to play. Their schedule didn't do them any help in BC on opening night 52. Montreal, probably maybe the best team in the league. Then you got Winnipeg, who's been to 5 consecutive finals, are pretty damn good too. So this will be a tough test. Right? Like you look at Calgary, and Calgary started 2-0, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Calgary." I'm like, "Well, they didn't really play anybody good." So that part of it, I'm sure if you'd give Ed Hervey true serum, he would have loved to have the opportunity to maybe have a bit easier of a schedule. I just think it's important for them. Like if they could find a way to get a win, and obviously I think it's going to be really hard, but if they get a win in Winnipeg, it really can change a lot of where your season goes, right? All of a sudden you get Ottawa, you beat them at home, you get some crowd excitement. Now you're 2-2 and you're like, hey, we're right in this thing. Otherwise you go 0-3 and then you really got to dig out of it. So it'll be tough. Pro sports isn't easy, boys and girls. It is not easy. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in if you're heading on a road trip because it's that time of year. The kids are out of school on Wednesday. This might be your first weekend away. Stop in at Fountain Tire. Get your tires checked. Brakes, alignment, everything to ensure that you are on the road, not on the sidelines. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Hockey Hall of Fame will have 8 new members later this year. Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander McGillney, Jennifer Botterill, Brianna Decker, Jack Barker, and Danielle Sabacho have been chosen as the 2025 inductees. Ceremony goes in November in the Hall of Fame from Toronto. Major League Baseball today, you got the Blue Jays kicking off a series in Cleveland against the Guardians. First pitch set for 4:40. Also, Yankees taking on the Reds. White Sox host the Diamondbacks, Mariners in Minnesota. Cards and Cubbies. Nationals take on the Padres, and it's the Giants hosting the Marlins. The Edmonton Riverhawks back on the road tonight, kicking off a series in Victoria against the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35. And the New Orleans Pelicans are trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick in Wednesday's NBA draft. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Terry Ryan. Also, Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM will be by, and Edmonton Oil Kings General Manager Kurt Hill. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way. Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock beef jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock beef jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need.
Cantor.com.
Edmonton Kubota.
Good afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor.
Right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
The employee pricing event is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $12,000 off the 2025 Sierra 1500
Good afternoon.
Denali.
Hope you're having an
Bring
awesome
power wherever you go with a 6.2-liter EcoTech V8 engine with dynamic fuel
song. A little bit of an
management
upbeat tune on
Bring
it.
style to the open road with a signature Denali Vader chrome grille and accents. And keep comfort top of mind with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance capability. Employee pricing is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th, 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours or call 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram as we roll through a busy Tuesday. Of course, for soccer fans, there's a big match tonight. The Blue Jays are back in action as the Jays are, hey, they're in the mix right now. And that's all you want to be. You want to just stay in the mix. If you're the Toronto Blue Jays, as they are what? They game. What do they got? A game and a half lead ahead of Cleveland for the wild card. Like, they're not safe by any stretch of the imagination. We're not even at. Well, we're coming up close to the midway point of the season in about a few more weeks. What have the Jays played? 77 games, I think it is. So they're getting closer. Well, but really by the end of the week, right at the end of this month, you'll be at the midway point of the season, and they're right there, right behind Tampa Bay. Also, you got Seattle, Cleveland, Boston starting to come on a little bit. So it's going to be a dogfight. And the Jays, the pitching depth on their starters. You know, they get Scherzer back. Is Scherzer going tonight, Conman? I think he might be. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow.
Not tonight.
Not
no.
tonight. Okay, but it's Lauer's tonight. Okay, but he is. He's getting closer, and he made his starts down in AAA. Yeah, he's tomorrow night. Scherzer will start tomorrow against Cleveland. So we'll see. At his age, what has he got left? Who knows? 833-401-1440, 833-401. You can text us in our email inbox. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop, boys and girls. Instance lottery, live dealer, sports, and casino. And remember, if you do gamble, use your Game Sense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca. As we welcome to the show, Shorzy, former NHLer Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
Cheers. I'm doing okay. How about you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm actually very much intrigued. The Hockey Hall of Fame today, the announcements came down, and you had, I know I see your Montreal Canadiens jersey in the background, but you got Chara and you got Duncan Keith. That's a pretty good defense pairing. You throw in Joe Thornton and the beard. You throw in the 76-goal scorer Alex McGillney, who I think was long overdue. And then you got Brianna Decker and Botterill on the women's side, two builders as well. Really not much to argue. I know people say, hey, Carey Price could get in. Carey Price will eventually get in. I just thought today they wronged a right by getting, righted a wrong by getting Alex McGillney in. I thought it was long overdue.
Yeah, I think most of the hockey world agrees with that. It's not something I go around asking people about Hall of Fame qualification, because for me, I always err on the side of course. Like people ask me, what's going on? Like this person, or tell me, but I ask, should this person be in the Hall of Fame? Most people that go through that process, I'm cheering for them. I want them to get in. And some are on the fence, but you still, as a player, you'd like to see it happen. But I don't know. The fact that he wasn't in already, I don't really know the story behind that, but most people point that out as an obvious omission in recent history. So that didn't make much sense to me that he wasn't until now, but I have absolutely no arguments with anybody on that list. It's tough to argue against it. I think you'd have to be pretty cynical to argue against those players.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's really hard to find any sort of criticism today. I don't really see anybody. They'll look, okay, you know what? Geez, like, hey, Carey Price could have got in, but who are you going to take out for Carey Price? So he'll get in, and away we go from there. Now, we are a few days away from the draft. Your draft, of course, you've told us a few stories. You were here in Edmonton when you got drafted, and so I'm sure every time the draft comes around, you got a few stories, some laughs, whatever. But you look at the Oilers and, they don't have any picks on day one. They don't have a pick until number 83 overall. And, hey, you tell the amateur guys, like, you still got to make that pick hit because you hope that it hits down the road. But I look at the Oilers and, the Arvidsson trade. We know that, he's working with them. He wants to play somewhere, right? He's in the last year of his deal. He wants to go play. Evander Kane's got half the league where he can veto a trade to. And then the other half, maybe they agree to it. We'll see. How many of those deals do you think both of those guys get moved before Sunday?
Which guys specifically, Arvidsson and who?
Kane.
Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot going on right now, and I mean, speculation comes from somewhere. In Arvidsson's case, I find it's almost like an opportunity missed because he's this confident. I guess he wants. Are we saying chance to play? I don't want to word that incorrectly because he just got a chance to play with the best players on the planet. Man, for a long time they were like, here you go. This is it. We're putting you there, even though you haven't scored in 13 games. We're going to continue to put you there. So for me, couldn't be much better of a chance. I guess you could look for more ice time on a lesser team, maybe. But that's a weird one. And with Kane, that's tough, man, because when he's on, he came back. It was a big reason I thought that they, having a physical presence in the playoffs. And, you're looking at him kind of leading that charge. So you want to get rid of him and then replace him with another Kane? I don't, but I get it. I get the money and the unpredictability of some of his play. I mean, in the finals, it was Unfortunately, he just didn't have a great final. But for me, that's a really that's an interesting one. Kind of reminds me of Nazem Kadri years ago with the Leafs. It didn't have a great playoff, and you could kind of point at him for taking penalties and suspensions. But the same kind of intangible there that you're trying to get. You want your team to play tough. Meanwhile, you probably got to get rid of one of the toughest players on it.
There are some, free agents that are out there, Tara, and I'm going to say it right now. For a few years, the NHL kind of got away from, the obvious contracts. That the day they were signed, we would look and say, "Whew, that thing is not aging well." Right? There's, you have people that you run into at your high school reunion 20 years later, and you're like, "Whew, didn't age well." And I think that contract, we've seen him many years. Milan Lucic, the minute it was signed, you're like, that thing's not going to age well. And we can go down the list of other ones. I think this year you're going to get back to it because there's way more available money because of the increased cap space this year and again next year. And there's not a lot of really dynamic players. Like, okay, Mitch Marner's a good player, but I still think I'm not paying a non-goal scorer more than $12 million. I'm not doing it, right? And God, I love Sam Bennett, but now if he's projecting, he comes in at 7.5, okay, but like 10 million is ridiculous. I think Brock Besser is a player who's a great candidate to get overpaid, and Aaron Ekblad's another one. Do you have a guy that you think is going to be this year's poster boy for big time overpay?
A lot of those have potential. It depends who you are too. I think I don't think Sam Bennett is going to the Maple Leafs, but with all the talk,
No,
I really don't. But people have been talking about that more last week than this. But I could see a team that really needs it overpaying. For me, these situations, even if I would snip, you can sense it, right? Like you said about the Lucic deal. And that wasn't that he wasn't a great player at the time, but I believe it was 8 years, wasn't it? Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, it might have been 7. I think it was
7. It's a long time for a player like that you knew that at some point soon, it's just the way I play. The injuries are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And players like that don't tend to play into their 40s for sure. But what I like is the small moves that, I'm not sure what Zegras is getting paid. I don't like Zegras as a player. I don't. But taking chances, I'm guessing he's up 4 or 5 million. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But he had his 60 points 2 years in a row. And I think at that point, we kind of thought he was going to get 7 or 80 from there. The last couple of years have been injury ridden. And, he certainly doesn't play a two-way game. Now, if he's gone to the Flyers with Tocchet. If he's going to turn around, this is the situation you'd think he'd do it in. But I like those. You're not swinging for the fence, but you could hit a home run. It has a potential to be a home run. I don't care who you are. Whenever you're tying up all that money, you better be convinced there's only a certain amount in the league. The Oilers have a couple of them, but I wouldn't blink at those. Marner, of course, double digits, but 14 million. Doesn't that scare you? If I'm a GM, doesn't that you could get 100 points? It's still that's what I mean. A lot of them are. You better get 100 points, Conn Smythe, and win the Stanley Cup, or else I don't know, man. $14 million. It better not be anything like it was in the past. Meaning, you've established you're going to get 12. I think Rantanen just, what's wrong with that? And if I'm Marner, I'm thinking a big reason he wants out of Toronto is the pressure and the playing at home, always under the microscope. Maybe I'm wrong there. It seems like that. If he's guaranteed, I don't even want to listen, I want to go, and the whole Leafs Nation are calling for him to be gone. A lot of that's because of the money he commanded. If he came in just if he gave any kind of a discount to the whole, then it wouldn't be like that. And all these years, you wouldn't be comparing him to every other winger in the league, and every single game that he gets a hat trick, people are up here, and when he doesn't score, they're down here. And every playoff, he better get him to the third round, or else. If he just didn't take so much, I don't know. You're set for life. You're set for life unless you make a monumental error in judgment. You're set for life. So I don't even know why. A lot of these guys, they push for the absolute ceiling and then some. And if it's me as a player, It's not all about that. I take a little bit less. I don't mind saying it. To not have such a huge amount of pressure each day I put on my shoes and go to the rink. And that's just me. So, and now I look at it the same if I'm a GM, which I'm not, but I would be really, really wary. And almost everybody on that list you just showed me, some great players there. There's some great players, but I just, depending on what they want and how long, sometimes it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just look at, like, I'm hearing, like, hey, I like Gavrikov, solid player, but you're giving him 7 or 8 years at $7.5, $8 million that they're projecting. I'm just like, oof, guy's not the most fleet of foot defenseman, doesn't bring you a lot of offense. That to me is like, that's Mark-Edward Vlasic.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's pretty solid. But that's not solid as an $8 million. Like,
No.
so what are we talking? I don't care if the cap's going up.
Yeah.
Okay, cap's going up, great, but it doesn't make you all of a sudden an $8 million player.
No. And the term, right? It's the term is where teams just get murdered. I would rather overpay a guy $500K, whatever, on a 3-year deal. And if, instead of being 7.5, he's $8 million for 3 years, I'd live with it because I'm like, I think he'll be okay the first year. Maybe so 1 year I got to maybe kind of watch with my watch between my fingers. Like, ooh, geez, there might be some scary parts of the season. But man, you sign a guy for 6, 7, 8 years, and it's just like the last half of that contract. You're just like, and I don't care if the cap is up to $110 million by then. You're still wasted money significantly on a guy that if you would have just done it for 3 or 4 years, imagine how much cap space you'd have after that. And that's why I've long argued it. The NHLPA, they should, and the players, because it would help them and it would help teams, they both should agree to max terms of 5 years after the age of 28. It'd be better for all parties involved. Better for everybody, right? The big guys, guess what? They get a shorter term deal. They're getting paid. They're going to get paid again. Great. And if you're a mid-tier player, like, you're still going to get money here. Like, let's be honest, the cap's up. So it's a 5 years at $80 million.
Yeah.
Well, there's $40 million right there. You've already made whatever you made beforehand. Don't tell me that it's just fair, because you look at how much dead cap space there is on buyouts, and that hurts the current PA, right? Because now you got, geez, look how much money we got that isn't even playing, that's just sitting there, right, for guys. And we know, Terry, there's some guys, if he was on a 4-year deal, the last 3 years of his deal when he's on LTR because he can't play, guess what? That would be free cap space. So for teams and everybody. So I don't know if they'll ever do it. It's funny. They're not going to do that. But you know what I'm hearing more and more? What's going to happen in the new CBA? 19-year-olds are going to be allowed to go play in the American League.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yes. Yeah, I think, like, I'm hearing that is now, you know what? The new CBA doesn't kick in till the following year, but that doesn't mean that if both sides agree to it, that could come as early as next season. Now, I don't know how many teams would do it, because I've watched 20-year-olds get their teeth kicked in and their confidence eroded going to the American League at 20.
Yeah.
To do it at 19.
I love it.
I don't love it at all. I think it's a terrible idea.
You get to go back to junior and be a leader. And you get to really, like, you get to go back with that experience and not only help the younger players, but, learn how to be a leader on and off the ice. I think those are pivotal. Those last 2 years of junior, providing you're not in the NHL, of course, you go high in the first round or whatever, and the NHL team wants you. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. But on the way there, I think there's something to be said for being a leader, maybe wearing a letter, setting up meals, like whatever it is that you do when you end up going pro, rather than just be low end of the totem pole immediately. I really enjoy it. And I know you'd never say it from my hockey DB, but trust me, I enjoyed that process. It was circumstance when I was in my early 20s that everything didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But my path there, I loved playing as an 18-year-old in Tri-City, and one of the best years of my life was just playing the playoff drive with Red Deer Rebels in 96, 97. We went to the East Final. It was just, and I learned so much. I went there. I ended up, I set a record for 3 rounds. I had 18 goals in 16 games. I didn't get in one fight the entire time I was in Red Deer. And I needed that. I needed that confidence. Like the year before wasn't great. I had a couple of injuries. My scoring was down from when I was 17. And I'm so, so happy that the Canadians sent me to Red Deer in junior that year instead of toying with any idea of playing in the American League. I think it really benefited. And there was other players I can name that we played against that year: Chris Phillips, Byron Ritchie, Shane Willis. That it helped all of them. Same thing with me, but Jesse Wallen, myself, Colby Armstrong was coming in. He ended up doing the same thing. Anyway, I'm a big fan of junior hockey, and especially those years you get to be a leader.
Oh, I love what you said there, TR, because to me, it's there. Everyone's like, you got to push yourself. You got to challenge yourself. Why? Where does this myth come from? You need to have confidence to make plays and then learn. Like maybe you're a highly offensive player in junior. Lots of guys, TR, you know what? You're going to speak from experience. Lots of guys in junior are big-time scorers, don't become big-time scorers in the NHL. You know why? Because guess what? It's damn hard to be a big-time scorer at any level.
Yeah.
It just gets harder the higher you go. So if you can't learn how to penalty kill or other things, suddenly you become a one-dimensional player, and now you're an American leaguer, or you go to Europe, even though you had more skill than some guy who plays 900 games in the NHL because he knows how to be a third-line player.
100%. Yeah, and it really does. Put it this way: when you're drafted, I don't care who you are or what. You could be a really dynamic scorer or the other way around defensively, but you're not really as well-rounded as you might be well-rounded for junior, but you're not what you think you are. And you get up in pro. And again, most of my experience from the American League, but I remember going to the American and knowing, and I had 50 in my draft year. We're not talking 50 when I was 20. I had 50 in my draft year.
Yeah.
And, like I said, 18 goals in 16 playoff games when in 96, 97, I could score. And I got to pro and I realized, I'm like, I don't know, my skating is quite, I knew early on. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have, if things, if I didn't get injured, my goal would have been, I remember I'm third line, two-way. I got to block shots. Now I got to learn how to penalty kill. Like I got to really, without being scored. I'd penalty kill in Tri-City. I was looking for a goal. I remember going, really learning the shot block, how to save my energy, all of those things, when to go in front of the net, what to do on the power play, all those things I had to work on when I got drafted, and there was a process to it. And part of that was going back to junior and honing my skills. And then the next step after that was here you are in pro and, figure yourself out, you figure out what you're going to do. I remember myself, Aaron Asham, and Darcy Tucker all being in camp together and saying, okay, you know what? We got to change it up here a little bit. I don't know if we're going to score the same amount in pro. We did,
Yeah. Oh, it's way harder, man. Well, you would know it 100%. So that's one that TR, don't be surprised that it's coming in the next CBA. So, hey, there's some changes. I'm actually going to write an article. If I was commissioner and I was in charge of the CBA, I think there's some easy changes that would make the game better, but I'm just not sure they'll do it. Quick break. We'll return. McCarthy will join us. It's Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Some jobs are easy, and some jobs are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, you just might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer on the Rock.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkels, live at OTR. Live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PBR.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rock.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need.
Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, go to ontherocks.yeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Sports1440.ca. Good afternoon. Hope you're having an awesome day. Gregor, Halley, Terry Ryan with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As it's time to go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. $2 Sundays, $2 snack size shakes right now at McDonald's. And even better, if you use the app, you can get $1 cones. Just order them, get the whole team there. $15, 15 cones, only McDonald's plus tax. As we welcome in Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. And Dave, I keep hearing that it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point that 19-year-olds, like Canadian North Americans, will have the chance to play in the American League at 19. Yay or nay for you?
Yay. That's common sense prevailing, is it not?
You like it?
Yeah. So long as their ability warrants the chance to play in the American Hockey League, like I would say that unless a kid is far and away, like it gives managers the opportunity to manage their team. Like if you've got a guy who's so clearly better than the Ontario Hockey League or the WHL or the Q, but can't quite make your NHL team yet, then how many times have we had that discussion that it would make sense for a guy like, Shane Wright a few years ago, or maybe even Easton Cowan last year with the Maple Leafs, have the opportunity to play in the American League. If the guy doesn't even have a hope of sniffing your NHL roster, then he's probably better served to go to the OHL, but it eliminates the ability or the, not necessarily the ability, but certain guys getting boxed into a wasted year where they're clearly better than junior hockey, but they're not good enough, or for whatever reason, the NHL team doesn't want them in the NHL at this point, to just sort of dick around for a year in the OHL where they're not getting any better. They're scoring 4 points a game for fun. Like, how does that serve the guy? It doesn't. So this makes a ton of sense. It doesn't mean you can't go back to junior hockey, but if you're so clearly better than those major junior leagues, then you have another option to play outside of the NHL. To me, that's a no-brainer. You guys disagree?
I do, yeah. I watch how many 20-year-olds come out of junior, 110-point seasons, go to AHL, and are done. They're not strong enough. They're not big enough, and it's a man's league, and it's a hard damn league. Like there's maybe the odd exception guy. Like people are saying, hey, Andrew Christel, but Andrew Christel's 5'10". And yeah, he lit it up in the Western Hockey League, but he maintained his confidence. And I think it gets all this. I don't buy the garbage of you got to test yourself as soon as you can. And you got to be against the best. So you know why. Why do you have to know at 19 if you're good enough to play against 28-year-olds? You don't. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying, but that's why it's good that the manager now has that ability to make that decision. I'm saying it's a very rare circumstance where that rule will need to be utilized, but there are some cases where the guy goes back to junior hockey and just isn't even being tested anymore. Like he's just so obviously better than those leagues can offer, and it's not a productive year for them. So yeah, there might be one circumstance here. There might be a circumstance every 2 or 3 years, maybe not one every year. But I do like the ability for managers to have that option. And I think and I hope that in most cases, managers would send guys back to the junior leagues, but for isolated circumstances. So I do think it's a good thing, because there's been the odd case here or there where it hasn't served the guy very well to go back to major junior.
TR?
Well, to pipe in on that, I see what you mean. For me, let's just say, okay, do you think Easton Cowan benefited this year? He would be the most obvious example, I think, right?
Like it's funny. His year this year was not as good in the Ontario Hockey League as it was a year ago. Now, does that come down to the fact that he just didn't play as good as he did the year prior? Did it come down to the fact that he was kind of miffed to have to go back to junior hockey, and it's like, I've already mastered this and I'm not being tested anymore, and I wish I had the ability to push myself at a higher level, so I'm just kind of gonna Pepe Le Pew through the motions here, and it turns into what I was saying, a wasted year. Like it's really hard to know that, but I think in this rule as well, if you come out of training camp, a guy doesn't make your NHL team, or maybe even the slot in the lineup in the NHL that you'd like the guy to play in is not available. Thus, you don't want to put him on the fourth line or play him, every other game he's in and out of the lineup. He's not available, so you want to send him elsewhere. If you start the guy in the American Hockey League, I don't see why there would not be the option after 10 or 15 games where it's clearly not going well, potentially, to then reassign him back to the Ontario League or the Dub or whatever. That, to me, would make a lot of sense, just so that it kind of eliminates the thought in everyone's mind, man, is he ready for a higher level? Okay, well, let's try him at the American. You know what? End of November, he's kind of getting caved in. He's not strong enough. Okay, now you go back. Now dominate. Like there's no thought of, geez, I'm kind of just wasting away here. No, you saw very clearly that you're not ready, and now you know what you got to work on. So again, I never am against managers having more flexibility in terms of where to assign guys.
Speaking of high levels,
go ahead. Yeah.
What did you think of the Hockey Hall of Fame selections?
A good class, right? I mean, I don't think you can argue about anybody that got inducted this year. I think the only point of contention, if you will, is the fact that Carey Price was not among those who were involved in this year's induction class. But you can't argue with Joe Thornton. You can't argue with Zdeno Chara. You can't argue with Duncan Keith. And I don't think you can argue about Alexander McGillivray. And the funny thing is, if Carey Price was in and Alexander McGillney did not get in again, all we would be like your question would have been, can you believe McGillney didn't get in again?
Yeah.
So, like, this is one of those ones where you can't make everybody happy all the time. So, no, I think it was a good class. I think this is one where all of these guys deserve to be in. I always find it funny when a guy who's been eligible for 15 or 20 years gets in. It's like, did he get better last year? I guess that goes to say that if you're a Hall of Famer, you should get in right away. Like, I honestly wouldn't be against having like 3 years of eligibility. Like, force people to make a call, right? But don't limit the amount of inductees. That way, you're not going to get a guy squeezed because it happens to be a really strong class where a bunch of guys become eligible. And so, in McGillney's case, maybe he does get squeezed because he's not in the same level as some of the other guys that have gone in. Don't limit it to 4 guys, but make people make a call within 3 years. You're either a Hall of Famer or you are not. Alex McGillney did not get better in the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that he got in. So that's how I would do it. And then if there are some years where only one guy warrants getting in, so be it. That's fine. But I do think that if you're a Hall of Famer within 3 years, you should either be in or you're probably not a Hall of Famer.
Good point.
Well, to me, McGillney got overlooked for a long time, and I never saw one legit reason why. His numbers matched up better to a lot of other players who got in before him. And I can tell you, the only thing that matched up to why he didn't get in because he was Russian.
That's exactly right.
Right. That's the only reason. To me, that's the only reason he wasn't in. So,
and part of his legacy has to include the fact that he was the first of his kind that ever did what he did in coming over from Russia to play in the NHL. He paved the way for so many guys after him because of what he did. And at the time, make no mistake, he had a pair to do what he did. That was a huge roll of the dice to come over clandestine under cover of night as he did. That a lot of guys owe him a debt of gratitude, and that has to be involved in the calculus as well. So I'm glad that he got in. And man, I'll tell you, when he was a Leaf that 1 year, he was the only Leaf during the Matt Sundin era to lead the Leafs in scoring, not named Matt Sundin. He was that good. He scored 76 goals in a season. Like, come on. You talk about being the greatest of great. Those are great accomplishments that deserve to be given the notice that they deserve. And he won Stanley Cups as well.
Oh God, yeah, he was a huge performer, man. Huge playoff performer. I think he's well deserving, no question, of getting in. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Dave, the draft comes up. We've seen a few trades. Give me your thoughts on the Trevor Zegras trade. There, they gave up a bottom 6 forward, arguably a 4th liner, and Poling, a 2nd rounder, and a 4th rounder. Like, I really like this bet for Philadelphia, a team that's looking for some offense and think that, hey, maybe this 24-year-old can get back on track.
I mean, they gave up basically nothing, but I think it goes to show how far Trevor Zegras' stock has fallen. Like, it wasn't all that long ago. This guy was headlining the All-Star game. He was in all the catchy videos. He was doing some acting. Like, he looked like he was living the life in Anaheim, except for one thing. His game never got to where everybody expected it to be. So, that's why I always say, you can do whatever you want as long as your game is sound. If your game is sound, you're in good shape. If it isn't, then it's amazing how fast people are looking for somebody else to do the fun videos and all that. These are just not moving a needle. And I think it was a case that Joe Quenneville got to Anaheim, looked at the roster, looked at Trevor Zegras, reviewed some tape, and was like, nope, not having it. And I don't blame him. Like, Anaheim is in the position right now where they are determined, steadfast to make their way into a playoff race in the Western Conference. And you have to ask yourself, is Trevor Zegras a guy that can help you do that? I'm not sure that he can. Can he help you in the playoffs? I mean, I have seen nothing in his game that suggests he's going to be a guy that won't get pushed out of a playoff series He gets pushed out of games in the regular season at times. It's not a good thing. So he's got a tremendous skill set. There is no debating that. But there is a long list of guys that are sensationally skilled that also do not help you win. And that's his task now that he's got to Philadelphia. And I guess that's Rick Tocchet's task as well as the head coach of Philadelphia, to try to get his game to a position where the skill set also matches his ability to help you win. And a lot of that is the dull, boring technical stuff of how you play when you don't have the puck, how you battle for a loose puck. Are you difficult to play against? He is not. He is not. He is a guy that can end up on Sports Center, on the highlight of the night or whatever they call it, on any given night. That's all well and good. But one highlight does not make a player that can help you win. And that's where Trevor Zegras needs to get to now in his career, is understanding that.
Davey, great stuff, buddy. We'll be chatting with you next week. Should be fun. We look forward to it. We'll talk to you Sunday on the brunch, where I think a qualifying offer, well, they'll be right close to the deadline for qualifying offers that day. So we should see, and we'll have a list probably of teams, and there'll be a few more free agents come Sunday night.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that more and more now, where guys that would automatically get QO'd without even a thought, teams are really making sure they don't waste their cap space nowadays. So there's always, seemingly in the last 2 or 3 years, a few more guys that you never even had on your radar that suddenly are there for the taking in unrestricted free agency. So it should be good. Talk to them, boys.
Awesome. That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. And we're going to be joined next by a general manager who made a huge trade, very close to announcing his head coach, and the talk of potentially losing players, not only NCAA, now 19-year-olds maybe to the NHL, to the AHL. How are you dealing with all that? We'll find out next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. And remember, $40 million tonight. Lotto Max. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca.
Tee off to win with Cattail Crossing's $10,000 hole-in-one challenge, powered by Sports 1440, Canada's first ever Aqua Range event. Just walk up, grab some golf balls, and start swinging. Or book a VIP bay today. Win $10,000 with a hole-in-one. Plus, great secondary hole and leaderboard prizes. Closest to the pin and monthly winners will battle for a $50,000 grand prize. The hole-in-one challenge. Open Thursday to Sunday, noon till 8 through August. Weather permitting, cattailcrossing.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
The dog days of summer means baseball. Every weekend, Sports 1440 carries Toronto Blue Jays ball games. Ben Shulman will have the call. Grab a cold one and tune in this weekend to Blue Jays baseball on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate only at gmccanada.ca.
Hat-tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.345. Welcome back. Gregor, Halley, Terry Ryan with you as we brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. It is the Gregor Show. Hope you're having an awesome day. Man, there's lots going on. We're almost halfway through the show already. I love it. Oh, by the way, what do you got? 2-3 days left, depending on what school district you're in. Counting down the days. These are like the fun days for school parties. The kids are just like, can't wait. Son's Jack. Tomorrow's his last day, grade 5. Cannot wait for summer. Let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions and projects, service and projects. They design, build, switchgear replacements, new construction, renovations. They do it all at actionelectrical.net. As we are now joined by the general manager of the Edmonton Oil Kings, who is having a very busy offseason, a big trade yesterday, acquiring Curran from the Tri-City Americans. Also has been conducting interviews for his vacant head coaching job, as we are joined by Kurt Hill. Kurt, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing well, Jason. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I guess let's start with the Curran trade. Kurt, did this trade kind of come about simply because you looked and said, hey, some of these other teams are going to be losing guys and maybe we can take a bigger swing now?
Well, I think we've always kind of, since the end of the season, evaluated our group and, like where our team's at and, in junior hockey with the cycle and just seeing where, the core of our team being 19 and guys who have kind of been here through this rebuild, it was a priority for us to try add another top 6 forward, over the course of the summer. And, I just kind of last week started talking with Bob Torrey at our Board of Governor meetings, and ultimately we're able to get a deal done for Curran, who's a player that we like a lot. He's had a lot of experience in our league. He fits in really well with our other 2 Czech players, and he's a guy that we think, with his experience and just his transition in North America, having been so successful, he's a guy that's going to fit in really well to our culture here in Edmonton.
For Oil King fans, what type of player are you getting, and where do you envision him playing?
You know what? He's primarily a centerman. His hockey sense is probably his biggest attribute as a player. Is distributive. He distributes the puck extremely well. A lot of the little intangible and little small area plays he makes makes him a special player. And he moves really well for his size. He can definitely play the wing as well. So I think that's something that we're just going to have to kind of sort out with, a lot of our combinations and, what's going to fit where once we get up and running into the season. And once we have a new head coach that is obviously going to be the guy that's going to put a lot of those pieces together.
Now, speaking of the head coach, Kurt, how close are you to announcing a head coach?
I wouldn't say anything is imminent right now. I think it's, the process of candidates is, there's still some guys that we're interviewing right now. And, I just think with how many pro openings there's been in the NHL this year and even the American Hockey League still, it's, patience is going to be something that we're going to have to kind of take that approach on this year. And certainly it's, I've talked to a lot of guys and, I've had a lot of time to think about it. And, I just don't want to make a hire just because we want to get it done. It's just with where our group's at right now. This is probably one of the more important decisions that I'm going to have to make, I guess, at the end of the day over my 7 years here. And certainly one that I think is going to be extremely important for the group of players we have coming back next season.
you look at, and so you mentioned all the AHL jobs. So it's safe to say the coaches that you're interviewing are guys with experience, both at the pro level and even at junior level. So do you have, when you look at your group of players, Kurt, and do you have like a style or a type or a personality of coach that you feel your group needs?
Yeah, I don't think I've zeroed in on one specific, personality or style. I think it's not to say that it has to be a guy with a ton of pro experience, or it can't be a guy who's, a younger guy that's had a lot of success maybe in junior hockey before. But, it's certainly, it's going to have to be a guy that's really detailed in his structure, that really still stresses an importance on the development of our younger players, because with us having a really strong team this year, on the flip side of that, we've had a lot of high picks the last couple of years in the draft. And, so with the candidates, stressing the importance of continuing to develop our younger players is something that's going to be high on my list. But at the same time, somebody that has a good presence in the room, and at the end of the day, if, we want to be a team that's going to win, he's going to have the ability to hold our top players and our older guys accountable throughout the season.
TR?
Kurt, how has it been adapting to the fact that players can now go interchangeable between the NCAA and WHL? Was that a hard one? Did it affect you guys negatively, or has the adaptation process been a positive one?
Yeah, I think here in Edmonton so far, for, I guess if I'm talking about our team specifically, there hasn't been much change. And, I guess maybe we're fortunate that nobody has decided to leave. I contributed a lot back to just, the relationships we've made with families. And I think we're in an interesting spot as a team as well, because it's, the majority of the guys that potentially would leave, I think they've lived the tough days here of going through this rebuild. And I think for a lot of them, they want to see this thing through and try to win here at the end of the day. But, I think from the standpoint of the league, it's tough seeing some of our top guys in the league choose to go that route. But you know what? I think for myself and our staff here, I've continued to stress the importance of making sure that, we're doing all that we can to continue to be a great development spot for players and take care of our home here and make sure that guys, when they're here, we're developing them for pro, and, we're continuing to get guys drafted to the NHL, and making sure that our environment is a place where, they're going to get to be better hockey players and better people off the ice.
Kurt Hill joins us. Kurt, I've heard from some pretty good sources that, in the upcoming CBA, there's going to be the opportunity for 19-year-olds to play in the American League from CHL. Currently, it's Europeans, and that's it. And there's not a ton of them. But when you look at the NCAA and then you look at that, is the WHL, you're going to have to change some things, do you think, once that comes in play? Or do you think it's going to be so minimal that most teams recognize, the AHL is a damn hard league, and for the majority of 19-year-olds, they're not even ready?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing, how many guys are actually going to go. And, I'm not naive to think that there's probably, across the CHL for first-round 19-year-olds, there's probably 5 or 10 guys that potentially could play in the American League. But, I mean, when I think about it myself, it's I almost feel like there's more risk to having a guy play in the American League at 19 than there is benefit. Even if the guy does go and plays well, at the end of the day, how much more is that going to help him than having another year in junior where he can dominate and be the guy? So maybe in the short term, some teams will take advantage of that and see how it goes. But I know there's a lot of cases in the past of guys that have gone at, European players or guys from the NTDP that have gone at 19, and it hasn't necessarily turned into it being the greatest development path for players. And not to say that it won't work for some, because some guys are just elite enough where they could go play there right now. But I do think that it's a tall task to ask a 19-year-old player to go and be effective in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, Kirk. I guess they just want the option there, and so there'll be the odd player that does it. But I think I watch a lot of 20-year-olds that were really good in CHL, and they went to the American League and they struggled mightily, and they're a year older. And you know what? Guys who are 100-point players, it is a big jump. I've talked to a lot of NHL guys who told me the jump from junior to the AHL is harder than the jump from the AHL to the NHL. So doing it younger, I don't think would necessarily be the best. Now, you mentioned the European. You guys are expanding your league, right? You're going to have 3 Europeans this coming season. Has that been officially ratified?
Yes,
okay.
That's correct. Yep.
And so do you foresee any other, because that's a pretty significant change. Do you see any other changes or any other changes that you would like to see as far as, player personnel or different rules that might be coming in play here in the next few years in the WHL and specifically, I guess, the CHL?
You know what? I think as a whole, I'm pretty comfortable with where things are at. I think, we'd be naive to think, I don't know where the USA Hockey stuff's going to go, just with how many players have chosen to come to the CHL. So that's something that's going to be probably a moving target as we go through, because obviously the NHL is very, they're invested in the USHL and that continuing to be a league. And there's been a lot of players that, have chosen to leave that league to come to the Western League. So that's probably a little bit of a moving target to see what happens in that regard at the end of the day. But, for us in the Western League here, it's getting the third import player was, that's great. We're adding 2 more teams and Penticton and potentially Chilliwack the year after. So it's, that's 40 more players. So the opportunity to add 23 more imports to our league, it's great. And, just because we've talked about this before, Jason, there's the depth, I don't think it is where it used to be in the Western Hockey League. So
Agreed.
Being able to add that third import and not be just trying to fill, and the Americans that are coming now, I think that's going to keep our depth at a good spot, at least on par with where it's been lately.
Do you think you'll ever go back and expand the 20-year-old?
You know what? I don't foresee that happening, especially now that, there's more 20-year-old players now that, when they're leaving to go to the NCAA. So I even see it now. Like if I go across the Western League and their teams, this is probably going to be one of the weaker groups of 20-year-olds in our league, just in the sense that some of the guys have left for the NCAA. And, and I understand that a guy's played in the Western League for 4 years. They don't lose their scholarship benefits if they leave once they're 20. So some of those guys are choosing to go, and I don't see the pool of 20-year-olds getting stronger. It's only getting weaker at the end of the day. So for us to expand, I don't think it would make a lot of sense.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Kurt, congrats on the deal. We'll see. Are you heading down to the NHL draft?
Yeah, I'm going to head down there and spend time with the Fiddler family. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, very potential first-round pick for him. So that'll be an exciting week for the organization and for the Fiddler family. So enjoy that. And we'll talk to you after free agency starts.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jason. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Kurt Hill, the GM of the Oil Kings. Current comes in from Tri-Cities. Man, that's really going to boost their top 6 forward group a lot in Edmonton. And it's interesting. We talk about they're losing players to other leagues, but they're expanding TR. Like, I always thought the WHL was watered down as it is. Adding another team in the league is not – you're going to have more people that can go and tell everybody, hey, I played in the WHL, but I'm – considering how many teams there used to be and compared to how many teams there are now, and then you watch it, like this is the gap from haves to have-nots is going to get a lot bigger over the next.
A lot more players choose Junior A now.
Yeah, well,
that was a real weird thing when I was for someone to pick Junior A and then get drafted out of it. Now there's all kinds going in the first round.
Yeah, but you know what? With the NCAA change, those guys will probably go to major junior now. I would think, but it's just the league's getting more watered down than ever before, and adding more teams. Like and the funny thing, I've talked, and I get money talks, but I talked to so many people who cover the league, and they're like, the league should have actually shrunk, not gotten bigger. Getting bigger is only going to create more of a gap, and you'll have some nights where there's just lots of players in the league who don't have WHL capabilities. They just don't have enough players around, so they'll play.
Yeah, and the NHL's going that route too, man. It's just 34. Huh? It's gonna be 34 soon, right? Am I wrong?
Well, probably. I don't know how soon, but in the next few years, yes. I won't be surprised. I'm very curious, though, when we talk about the CBA. I wonder if there's going to be one change in this current upcoming CBA where the player's like, hey, wait a sec. We got to get some piece of the pie when it comes to the expansion money. Because right now it's going all to the owners, and they're crushing it. They're killing it with it. And I get it. They don't want to give it up, but I'm sure the players are going to be like, hey, wait a sec. This this is not a great deal for us. You guys are getting like, what's the next expansion price tag going to be? 700 million, 800 million.
It's a good point.
And it goes all to the teams and none of the players. I could see some players and, saying, hey, wait a sec, we might have to be looking at changing this. So that's kind of the only thing I could see being a little bit of a debate on the next CBA. Other than that, they're pretty much in line with one another, which is a good thing to see. There's no threats of another lockout. God, that's the last thing they could use right now. But
and Jason, sorry to cut you off. How many Memorial Cups have we won in the last 10 years?
0.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, when I played, it was 8 out of 10. They were the best. I went to the Western League when I was 14 because it was the best league on the planet that I could get ready for the NHL in. I'm not joking there. And I think you couldn't even argue with that much analytically. Look at the stats, the players that came out of there. My 110 points in the dub was like 190 in the queue at the time. Now the queue expanded, of course, took maritime players in and more teams. There was a lot of different things and nuances that have happened in the last 30 years. I'm just saying to you, we've won none. When I say I played in the dub. We've won none, and you're going to now water that down even more. It doesn't seem like the best time to do that. Although the Penticton and Chilliwack are great places, big hockey towns, but it just, to me, we got to get back in winning. I don't know if you're going to do that, watering down the league more.
No, I totally agree with you. TR, have a great week. We'll talk to you Thursday as we are on the eve of the NHL entry draft.
Copy that. Thank you, Edmonton. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. And I'll see you guys in just a couple of days.
There you go. That's Terry Ryan. Joins us Tuesday, Thursday here on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now. You can get up to $12,000 off on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. Only at gmccanada.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Hockey Hall of Fame will have 8 new members later on this year. Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander Montioli, Jennifer Botterill, Brandon Decker, Jack Parker, and Danielle Savageau have been chosen as the 2025 inductee. Ceremony will go November from the Hall of Fame in Toronto. Riverhawks back on the road tonight, kicking off a midweek set against Victoria. That one gets going at 7:35. Major League Baseball, Toronto in Cleveland. Taking on the Guardians. First pitch about 40 minutes away. Also the Rangers in Baltimore. Tigers hosting the Athletics. Yankees up against the Reds. White Sox, Diamondbacks, Mariners in Minnesota. Cards take on the Cubs, Dodgers, and Rockies, and the Padres hosting the Nationals. In the WNBA tonight, Lynx and Mystics going at it. You also have the Sky Sparks, Dream Wings, and the Storm hosting Caitlin Clark and the Fever. And in the association, the New Orleans Pelicans trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick in Wednesday's draft. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sam Cosentino. Look at the NHL draft. We'll also ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. The KJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy a refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer.
Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
We've got some good news for you. Employee pricing is back at St. Albert Dodge. You pay what we pay, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, it just doesn't get any better than that. You'll get a great deal, and it's so easy. No complications, no negotiations. The pricing is simple. Your biggest challenge will be choosing the vehicle you want. Employee pricing. Come see us now for the best selection and the best pre-tariff prices of the year, and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford. a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends.
Make sure to swing by Nisku Ford in June to take advantage of 0% financing or choose a total savings of up to $18,500 on select 2024 vehicles.
The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each order at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Hey, 407. How you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. All of you watching Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, and X, and Instagram, thank you very much. Always appreciate you taking time out of your day to be part of the show. Lots happening on the world of sports. Probably the biggest news for the Oilers, maybe, and it's not huge news, but the question I have of the day is, are the Oilers going to qualify Olivier Rodrigue? If you look at, so they have to do that by Sunday night. Evan Bouchard, Captain Obvious, he will get qualified. If he doesn't have a contract extension before then, they will definitely qualify him. The only other players in the organization, Jacob Perreault, Cameron Wright, I do not expect to be qualified. Noah Philp, he'll get qualified. Because they really only have 5. The only other RFA they have is Olivier Rodrigue. And Nathaniel Day signed his contract. Sam Johnson's coming over as well. He's probably going to start in the ECHL. And you also have Connor Unger. Now, he got injured in the ECHL playoffs and will not be ready to start the season. So they got like 20, 21, 23-year-olds. And Olivier Rodrigue, that's going to be a decision for the organization. I'll say this. If they don't qualify him, I think that's kind of a sign that they think, hey, maybe Calvin Pickard might be our number 3 there. We'll see what happens. So that's a decision that needs to be made before Sunday. Now, there'll be lots of decisions made before then. Trades, but most importantly, the draft. And we'll get to the draft report brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing continues now till the end of the month. You can save up to $12,000 on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. Only at your Alberta GMC dealers. Sam Cosentino, NHL draft analyst for Rogers Sportsnet, joins us. Sam, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Busy as can be, but I'm loving the work right now.
Now, Sam, you've watched a lot. You scout all these kids. I'm hearing a very good chance in the upcoming CBA, and maybe as early as next year, that 19-year-olds will be able to play in the American League. Now, currently Europeans are, but not any of the North American ones. You watch a lot of these kids. You follow it. How many teams do you think are going to rush a player and end up hurting them more than helping him by playing at 19 in the American League?
Well, I don't honestly. I don't think too many. I think the you might find a kid who's bigger in stature, who can go and handle the rough and tumble AHL. You might find the odd kid who they feel, all right, he's just done everything he can in junior. What's the next step? But I don't see it being a ton. What I think is that the NHL teams really appreciate what the CHL does for the development of their players. And so there's a lot of teams, and I have talked to a lot of them, that are very concerned about what they expect to be a deluge of players leaving right after the draft.
Yeah.
To go from the CHL to the NCAA. And so right now, okay, and until things change, and I don't expect it to be grandfathered, but let me present this scenario to you.
Okay.
Cole Reshny gets drafted by Team X.
Yep.
He goes to North Dakota. He goes and he has a wonderful year at North Dakota. And Team X says, we're going to sign you. Okay, well, your college career is over, but you're under 19. Where do you go? Your only option in this current CBA structure is to go back to Victoria. Well, you just left Victoria and you left them in a bit of a mess. Okay, so Victoria takes it back and we trade you, we move on from you. But you've gone from the CHL, 92 points, college hockey, whatever, 30 points. Now you're going to go back to the CHL because you're a signed player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under the current agreement. So I don't know. I don't see how that helps the development of a player, right? Now the player has all the power right now to do what they want. And some of them are going to chase some money here early on. And I think some of that money is going to be a little bit misguided because, yeah, you might go and cash in for whatever X amount of dollars that is now, but it might cost you exponentially more in terms of your development because you're young. You're too young. You need, at this age, you need to go play games.
Mm-hmm.
At 19, fill your boots. 16, 17, and 18, you have to play games. You have to develop your hockey sense. You have to learn how to dominate. You have to learn what it's like to play on a PP and a PK and not just be a 5-on-5 guy lost in the shuffle in college hockey. Some guys are going to excel in that. Don't get me wrong. It's not for everybody. But mostly at this age, you have to get miles. And I just don't understand. No one gets it right now because it's all new. It's going to take 3 or 5 years to figure this whole thing out. But immediately, we're going to see some people chasing dollars that are early dollars that are going to cost them later dollars.
Yeah, I totally 1,000% agree with you. And because like to me, I look like a player like Gavin McKenna, and I hear that he's going to go to NCAA, and I'm like, why? Yeah, Gavin McKenna. I know people. Oh, what more can he accomplish in junior? I'm like, lots of guys have dominated junior for a few years. I don't think it would hurt him. And he's now going to go to play. Now, he's big and strong already. Like, does he really need to spend that much more time in the gym? I think he needs to be playing games and touching pucks and trying new things. So, like, if I was Gavin McKenna, I know his birthday's too late because he's not like Austin Matthews, who I think was September. So he was able to go to play Europe. That would be the best thing for him. If he was truly wanting to test himself, he'd go play in Europe. But going to NCAA where he's going to play half the games, I don't think that's a great decision.
Yeah, I agree. You got to play games. I just feel so strongly about that. And I'm not saying don't go and play college hockey. I'm saying at 19, as your body becomes more physically mature and you want to, the whole thing is, we're going to be in the weight room. Well, you're going to play 2 games a week. Mm-hmm. And most likely, if you're an 18-year-old CHL player that's used to playing 23 minutes a night as a forward, maybe 27 as a defenseman, you're going to drop down and be part of the mix there and play 13, 14 minutes a night. So not only are you playing fewer games, you're playing fewer minutes in those games.
Yeah.
So and again, some guys are going to be able to withstand all of this and be top players for their college teams. But for the most part, that's not going to happen.
No, I'm with you. So the draft itself now comes up on Friday, and there's always lots of talk at the top, and it seems like Schaefer is now the consensus guy. People, hey, potential to be a number one defenseman, and I totally understand all that. Who do you see, like, when we get past him, because we've talked a lot about him, and we actually talked with you, Sam, in the past about him. So I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other defensemen in this draft class, and kind of, where's the gap from Schaefer to like number 2, number 3, number 4 defenseman?
Okay, so if I'm matching it alongside team needs, Mertka, Seattle, guy plays in Seattle. They know him really well. The Big Brass would have seen him a number of times. Plenty of room to, 6'5". He's plenty of room to pack pounds on his frame. And the one thing that people might not know about him is that he's basically raw and untrained. We asked him, well, where'd you learn to skate? Oh, I never had skating coaches or lessons. Well, how about your puck touch? It's pretty good for a big guy. Where'd you learn that? Well, I don't know. We never really had coaching. So that rawness, I think, is going to be really attractive to people. The size obviously is going to play. He's probably the next guy on my list.
Okay.
The next two after that are pretty interesting. Tayshaun Aitchison brings that old school fight, throw big open ice hits, take on all challengers. He plays with swagger, 6'1", 200 pounds, got a little bit of room for growth there. A really good teammate, gregarious guy, will be good in the room, and people are going to like playing alongside him. His 26 goals are a bit of an aberration for me. I don't think that the offense translates the way it did in junior hockey, but I'm fine with the other stuff.
Okay. So
Jackson Smith is the next interesting guy in all of this. And so you'd probably be familiar with his dad a little bit. And a guy who kind of is able to do it both ways. The interesting element to him is in Tri-City, he can go and he can create offense and be a little bit more up in the rush and use his skating for the positive side of things. Plays with Hockey Canada. He's scaled back a bit. He's more of a matchup guy, a gap guy. Kill plays in neutral ice. That experience, combined with the experience of playing more of an offensive role in Tri-City, has served him really, really well. So where does he fit on the continuum? It probably looks like this for me. Schaefer 1, Mertka 8, Smith 12-ish, Aitchison 15-ish. That's how I would look at the top 4. And then we're going to see a little bit of a drop-off from there. You get into Fiddler, you get into Boumediene, you get into Hensler. Those would be probably the next 3 names as far as defensemen go.
Yeah. What about a guy like Cam Reed?
Yeah, one guy I forgot about. Probably in the 20 range, 6-foot defenseman, really good boots. Had an excellent second half. His skating is elite. It's amongst the best of any of the defensemen in the draft class. Maybe Boumediene would be in that conversation as well. I think Schaefer is the top of the class there, but Reed is definitely a guy that I probably forgot about. He's probably the beginning of that next tier when it comes to Reed. Then you go like Hensler, Boumediene, Fiddler, in some order, and probably slightly later into the mid to late 20s for those other guys.
Sam Cosentino.
Reed probably in the 20 range.
Okay, sorry, Sam. Sam Cosentino joins us from Sportsnet, breaking down the 2025 NHL Draft, which goes this Friday, round 1. Then, of course, rounds 2 through 7 on Saturday. And looking at the forwards now, you've got, I want to get to Michael Misa because, here's a young player, and this guy, man, like, I'm a big fan of his, and I know some people like Frondell, there's Desnoyers, Brady Martin's very different in kind of the tenacity that he brings, but like, I don't know, maybe not that people are downplaying Misa, but I've just found in the last month, Sam, there seems to be, wow, I'm not really sure on Misa, and I know that happens sometimes, right? Like, I know that happens, but I don't understand why. Like, I don't see any questions around this guy as far as his potential to be a legit NHL player.
The one area probably, and I saw it with John Tavares, where the exceptional status thing hurts you. It's like you're over-scouted. It's like, we know all of the good about you, but you've been around for 3 years, man. We got to find something bad about you and your game. And I think that's probably the issue that Michael's facing right now. even James Hagens, to a certain extent, is going through the very same thing. I would be absolutely delighted picking inside of 5, and I would be more than happy with either one of those two players. I guess if you're talking about Misa, some of the criticisms I've heard, well, maybe he plays on the outside a little too much. I'm not buying that. Well, maybe his defensive detail isn't where it needs to be. I don't buy that either. You watch the guy in the PKs; he's brilliant, which is something, a new fold that he added to the mix this year. So 62 goals, 134 points. That's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that he moved from wing to center tells me that if he breaks into the National Hockey League next year, you feel pretty confident about putting him on the wing. And then especially at home, getting us some matchups that will be beneficial to him and, going up against the third or fourth line, that sort of thing. So I love Misa. I just think he's fantastic. I just hope that the over-scouting thing, because of his exceptional status, doesn't come back to bite him in the butt.
I was going to ask you about the fact that he's made that switch. And here's a kid who, early, people, oh, geez, he's got to get out of the league. No, he changed things. He tried another position. He learned how to penalty kill. And you do it in a league where it's easier to learn it. And if you make a mistake, it's not as noticeable, where all of a sudden, if you're in the American League as a 19-year-old, you make that mistake, the coach is sitting you down because they got to win. So,
well, it's the same thing in college too, right? Yeah. Those programs have to win. They're not necessarily on the developmental front the same way the CHL teams are, but you and I can have that conversation all night.
Yeah. So when you look at Misa, do you think because he made that switch that we might see a team say, okay, you know what? Hey, NHL's hard league. Maybe we'll bring him in, but we'll have him as a winger where there's a little bit less responsibility in year one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely the case. I mean, look at Shane Wright. Look at Quentin Byfield. Those are guys who were centers and who have had to make their way into the National Hockey League and establish themselves first on the wing before getting back to their natural position. So having had that experience for 2 years on some pretty good Saginaw teams, including winning a Memorial Cup, is really going to serve Michael well in the long run.
You mentioned Fiddler. Where do you see him going potentially? And what's his projection long term? Like, obviously, I think he's got to improve his puck skills, which is fine. He's a young defenseman, but is that like the most area of you say, hey, next year, kid, if I'm having you and whoever drafts him, say, let's just get back there and puck touches.
For sure. And where are you going to get that? Playing your 70, 73 games in the Western Hockey League. So when it comes to Fiddler, probably enters the conversation sometime around pick number 25. And the three things really he has going for him: 6'4", 205, size will always play, right shot guy, that adds value to, son of a former NHL player who's been around it. I think when we get to that part in the draft and you're looking for some sort of differentiator, I think the NHL bloodlines thing comes into play there. And so when I'm looking at Fiddler, really good skater. I agree with you on the puck touch piece. I would say even the hockey sense sometimes has been criticized in Fiddler's game, but you have time to work on that stuff, right? So 25 is for me where he starts to enter the conversation.
Sam, you've done this for such a long time. And so when you look at players like, it's hard to project how a guy is going to handle adversity, right? Because a lot of these players have been the best kid on their team because they're just naturally gifted. They've been really good. They were, all of a sudden you get to the NHL or maybe the AHL and it's like, oh God, this is hard. Have you seen anything as a scout over the years that makes you think, okay, I think I can tell if a guy's going to be able to deal with that adversity better than others? Or is it still one of the hardest things to predict?
It's hard to predict, but if you look at guys who were injured in their draft year,
yes,
I think about Morgan Riley, right, when he was picked by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and there are a number of other guys. Brett Connolly actually made a pretty good career, although he's not a name that pops off a lot of pages, who were injured in their draft year and still got picked. So I think the adversity of being hurt in your draft year is something that ultimately will play out in a positive way for you, because that's the thing. You've played your whole life to get to the point where you can prove yourself in your draft year, and you don't have the opportunity to do it. Kind of like a Roger McQueen situation.
Right.
But I also think that, and this has happened with a number of kids, and I ask this question all the time, Jason, when we get into the combine interview room or the prospects interview room, is like, is there anyone you play for? Is there anyone you're really inspired by? Cam Reed, great example. The passing of his grandfather, who was a huge piece in his life, who went to all his games, who he talked to after all of his games, passed away and acts as an inspiration. I think there's adversity in loss. And unfortunately, you have to, that's something, unfortunately, these younger people have to deal with. Jagger Firkus, when he was picked, he had an unbelievable story about the passing of his minor hockey coach that just rocked him. And both of us were tearing up during the interview because it was just so emotional. And so having faced that type of adversity, it's very difficult to go through. It probably never leaves you. It probably requires ongoing support. But in the grand scheme of things, in terms of where your hockey career is, it really helps you put things in perspective, and I think helps you overcome the adversity that you're going to face while trying to become an NHL regular.
Sam Cosentino joins us. Sam, one last one. And this one's always tough because you do your rankings and you know what? And you have to rank guys. So some guys are going to eventually, I'm sure you sit there and like, geez, I thought this guy'd be 12. He ends up 16, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you look at your list and you say, here's a guy that in 5 years, I think is probably, whether it's a first round or not, like somebody outside the top 10 who people are going to look and say, wow, how was he not drafted sooner?
Will Horkoff is the guy. So, your listeners in your area would be familiar with his dad, Sean. So again, the NHL bloodlines, 6'4.5", about 205, 10 pounds. Size is going to play. And I think he's a kid who's still growing into his body. So he starts with the program, ends up going to Michigan, reunites with his program teammates at the under 18s, plays on a really good line there, acquits himself well. I think more of a longer term project with a guy that has to grow into his body. He's probably going to enter the conversation for me right around pick 24, which would be LA. And I think maybe as early as 20, sort of in that Cam Reed territory. So he's the one guy that I think maybe not enough people are talking about in terms of what he's going to look like down the road.
Awesome stuff, Sam. Enjoy the draft. We'll be watching. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Take care. Have a good night.
There you go. That's Sam Cosentino. And William Horkoff, of course, Sean's son. And geez, where'd he get the height from? Towering over dad. 6'5". They got him. Some have him at 6'5", some have him at 6'4.5". Big dude, big kid. And I like what Sam said. You know what? Take some time. Be quiet. Be patient with a player like that. Draft him late. Just let him develop for the next few years. 426 will come back. We got lots of order talk to get to on the draft. Some potential moves. Some potential players leaving. We'll get to all that. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Spell Legacy without AC. Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need. All powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
Can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Hey, everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th, 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours or call 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service, rain or shine? Japa's service department is there for you. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.30 Tuesday afternoon, Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you get in the game. Got all sorts of options. The Blue Jays are back in action. You got soccer. Of course, you'll have, well, I have to look what they got going on the NHL draft, but I don't think they have the odds. So you got CFL, of course, the Elks. You're looking for a pretty big underdog on Thursday in Winnipeg. You get the Elks plus 9.5. Connor Halley. That's can the Elks keep it within 10?
I said last week that was my pick. 2 possessions, 10 points. I don't think so. It's gonna be tough. Going on the road will be very tough to do so.
Yeah, it's not a great scenario right now for them with all the injuries and everything else you have going on. It is it's going to be I think it's fair to say that will be a challenge, no doubt, for the Elks to see if they can find a way to just get a win, right? Just get a win and come home and feel good about yourself and see if you can build on that, because that's obviously an area right now that they're trying to battle through it, but it is not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think, for the green and gold. So we'll see. Of course, the injury to Beard at center not making life any easier for the Elks, but at some point, hey, you're going to need. There's a lot of areas that got to be better. You know what? You need better quarterback play for sure. I think you're going to need to be a little bit more aggressive in your play calling early in the game, on both sides of the ball. Also, their defense, when you get a guy in your grasp, you got to tackle. And I know Eddie talked about it on Elks Nation podcast that their tackling hasn't been great through 2 weeks of the season. When you have opportunities to wrap guys up and take them down, and then they don't, it's extending drives and it's killing you. So it's an area it's got to be better too. But let's get to the oil report. Lots to talk about. Brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. The Discover Day sales event continues on. You can lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save an additional $4,000. Great vehicle, better service. Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. And some news on the Oilers front. So we talked about it. The Oilers qualifying. Anybody who's an RFA needs to be qualified by Sunday. I think it's 5 p.m. Edmonton time. So, or maybe it's even 3 p.m. Edmonton, 5 p.m. Eastern. Either way, it's on Sunday. And the Oilers' current RFAs, Evan Bouchard, no-brainer. He'll get qualified. Noah Philp, he'll get qualified. Jacob Perreault, Cameron Wright will not get qualified. play in the American League. They've signed a lot of other guys. They're not going to do it. So that leaves one player, Olivier Rodrigue. The Oilers they've got Connor Unger, who played in the minors in the ECHL. Now, he got injured. I don't think he's going to be ready to start the season next year. Actually, I'm pretty sure he won't be. Then you got Nathaniel Day, Samuel Johnson, who's coming over from Europe. Probably, I think in Johnson's case, starts in the ECHL, especially with the injury to Unger, so he'll get a chance to play. So that's 3 pretty young goalies. So if you sign Olivier Rodrigue, then I guess you could put, have Day and Johnson split time in the ECHL. Not ideal, but you could do it if you had to for a year. And then you have Rodrigue in the American League with another veteran goalie. Colin Delia, would they re-sign him? Maybe. They would have another veteran there. They're not going to have Rodrigue and a rookie, I wouldn't think. But maybe it's Rodrigue and Pickard. Or maybe it's just going to be Pickard as their starter potentially if the Oilers go out and get another goaltender. So we'll see. I've said it all along. I know there's a lot of people like this year, people are like, oh, give Rodrigue. He's not close to NHL ready. I'm not sure he's ever going to be. He's not an overly big goalie. There's some deficiencies in his game. I think it's going to be really hard. So I'm curious to see what they do there. So some other ones are players who need, players from, who's turning pro this year. And so you look at it, Bo Akey. Now, Bo Akey, I'm sure if the Oilers are being honest, he didn't have a great year this year with the Barrie Colts. He had a good year last year, 2 years ago, got banged up last year, came off the injury, had an okay season, but not great. He turns 20. He's played 4 years in the OHL. He'll be going pro this season. He's already signed his contract. He'll be signing pro. Nathaniel Day has signed. Now, Matt Capone, who was a 7th-rounder center out of Merrimack College, I expect that he is going to sign an American League deal with the Edmonton Oilers. So that'll be their draft picks from 2023 because you either sign them or whatever, they go back in. So I would think Capone will get an American-only deal, which is kind of similar if you remember back to another 7th-round pick, totally different position in a guy like Vincent Desharnais, who signed an American League-only deal and worked his way up and then finally got an NHL deal. So, Capone's 6'3", not overly big guy. But, we'll see. They're going to give him a shot at the American League. That's kind of where I see it. Now, it's going to be some tough competition down there because you look at their farm system. If you look at, so they got Josh Szymanski, who they brought over from Europe. You have Quinn Hudson. You have Viljami Marjali. You've got James Steven, Jaden Gruby, Connor Clattenburg. You have Brody Stonehouse. You got Matt Michkov. Right, Robbie Arventi, James Hamlin. They got a lot of guys down there. Right, and who knows? Max Jones, depending on who they sign, he might be down there. Noah Philp, where's he going to be? Is it 4th-line center in Edmonton? 1st-line center in Bakersfield? We'll see where it's at. So there's lots of competition at the forward position. Now, Kajula's not there. Now, I got to look to see if I'm missing any AHL-only deals for for Bakersfield. So I'd have to look up that. I know that usually they might have a few of those guys that are on American only deals, and we'll kind of like Ethan DeJong, I think. Rhett Pitlick is another guy. So, Seth Griffin, I think he still has another year. I got to double check on that one. But either way, there'll be a lot of bodies down there. So you'll be competing, but Capone, because we've had some text people. I love the dedication of our listeners when they're asking about a 7th-round pick from 2023 and where he's at. Hey, Greg, what about Tomasek? Well, Tomasek's got their best chance to come over and make the main roster. He's the only one who's got a one-way deal of all the players that signed. Szymanski's got a 2-way deal. Hudson, all those guys should have 2-way deals, but he doesn't. I think Tomasek is here, and they believe that he's ready to really push. He's 29 years of age. He's not young. He led the Swedish Elite League in scoring last year. He's a right shot and play center or wing. So for those of you, when I said, hey, I'd play Nugent Hopkins at center, well, guess what? If Tomasek's his right winger, well, then he can take draws on his strong side, and Nuge can take draws on his strong side, if that's a concern for you. So I would do it. Hey, Gregor, where does Sam O'Reilly end up next season? Would he be a guy who qualify for the AHL, or is he automatically back in London. Well, I don't know if the rule will be in place yet or not for this coming season. But if it is, then he would be an option. Right now, he's only played 2 years in the Ontario Hockey League. I don't need to rush him. Like, he's only played 2 years. He's played 130 OHL games. That's it. There's no reason to rush him. Why not? Like, he had 71 points in 62 games. Pretty good. Plays in a lot of positions, right? Like, I don't know if Sam O'Reilly's going to come to Edmonton and really project to automatically being a second line center. Well, he won't be, in the foreseeable future when you got Draisaitl and McDavid. Right? He probably projects to be a third line center who maybe plays on the wing at times. We'll see. But I'd have no qualms having him in the Ontario Hockey League again. Right? He can play for the World Juniors. There's lots of things that he can do to continue to improve. London's a good organization. They're going to have a chance to win. They've won back-to-back OHL titles. So, yeah, I would keep him there. Like, I don't necessarily buy that he's played 2 years, and don't tell me we just had Sam Cosentino who watches way more junior hockey than I do. I think at times it's one of the biggest fallacies is, oh, geez, he's got nothing left to prove. He's got to get up there. He's got to play. And I'm kind of like, does he? Are you sure? Like, are you sure there's nothing else he can learn? I think there might be some things he can learn. So I would think he's back in junior would be my thing. So, hey, Gregor, how about Bouchard and Kane to the Ducks for Jackson Lacombe, Lucas Tostel, and picks? No. Evander Kane's a 34-year-old. He doesn't have more value than Lucas Tostel and Jackson Lacombe, who are both 24 and under. Like, no chance. That's a trade that is all about benefiting the Oilers. The Ducks, I'm going to say 0 chance that that is happening. Hey, Greg, there's lots of talk about the Oilers having way more cap space. Well, how? All right, like, if they move out some guys, but just look at where the Oilers are right now today, right, on their cap space. They don't have a lot of cap space. The Oilers have today 11 or just under $12 million in cap space. Okay, that's it. They have to sign Evan Bouchard. There's $10 million. That doesn't include Corey Perry, Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen, Trent Frederick. Doesn't include any of their contracts. So now, could you move Arvidsson and Kane? Yes. Now, I know there's been some speculation. Maybe Matthias Ekholm starts the season on LTIR. Okay, well, start the season is one thing. Is he going to be there all year long? Now, I haven't heard anything that suggests he will. He just came back and played. Right now, he wasn't fully recovered. But my understanding is, now, unless he re-aggravated something, injured something else, I hadn't heard anything that suggests he needs long surgery. Now, Zach Hyman told us he might not be ready to start the year, but that doesn't mean he's going to be on LTIR the whole year, right? He broke a bone in his hand and some tendons. Broke his bone in his wrist and some tendons in his hand. Does that mean he's going to be out till next April? Like, no. So I don't know how much cap space, unless they, like, the way that you have to, for them to get cap space. So even if you move out Kane and Arvidsson, right, that's $9 million. So then you would have $21 million. Bouchard still takes up 10. So now you're down to 11, and you'd have to sign Connor Brown and Kasperi Kapanen and Trent Frederick. And if Trent Frederick's 3.8, well, now you're down to 7. So I don't know. It's a lot of money. It's some, but that's why you're going to move Kane and Arvidsson. Or maybe it's Adam Henrique who gets moved. He has 1 year left on his deal. But I don't know if they're that. I know some people looked at Henrique in the playoffs and they get all upset about it. That's fine. But I don't know if they're as down on Henrique. Doesn't mean you can't trade him. Doesn't mean you can't trade him at all. Hey, Gregor, I thought Yarventi signed overseas. Well, he did sign overseas, Northside Lou. But that was only as a backup, and he had an out clause because when he signed the contract, he wasn't sure what the Oilers were going to do with him. So him and his agent had a good plan in place. We said, hey, we'll sign in Finland because if we don't get signed now, we know we have a contract. But he had an out clause. And then he signed with the Oilers, and he's gladly coming back to North America. So you are correct that he did sign in Europe, but that was as a backup plan. And once he got signed by the Oilers, now he'll be coming here because that's obviously where he wants to go. Greg's, what's your thoughts on Savoy? Where does he fit? I think Matt Savoy will come in and have every chance to start in your top 9 and possibly even on, like, I won't be shocked if he's on Draisaitl's wing coming out of training camp. Not at all. Arvidsson was there last year. Matt Savoy can start there this year. That's if I was in pencil, that's where I'd see it. Now, remember, where you start the season doesn't mean you're guaranteed gift wrap to stay there all year long. He's obviously going to have to play well, but I could see that happening for sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions. Then we got spec, DVD. We got lots more good texts coming in. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at the Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals, like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sectionals. Queen beds start at only $199. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $4.99 or more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer.
Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Calling all cheddar lovers, Papa John's new cheddar crust one-topping pizza for only $17.99. Order online at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
448. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely Tuesday as we inch closer. NBA draft tomorrow. The Thunder had their parade today. Lou Dort, shirtless, celebrating. Why wouldn't he? Just won the title. They're having a lot of fun. And, of course, then you got the NBA draft tomorrow. We'll see another Canadian going in the first round. Canadians are pretty hot right now. When you look at how they performed in the NBA final, you had 4 of them, all making significant impacts for both their teams. This is a good time for Canadian basketball, no question. Let's get to it is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. I have to check out some draft odds at PlayAlberta. We'll talk about those later on this week. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick as Boxing Week returns. You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at The Brick for 4 days. You can shop incredible deals, matches starting at only $99. You get queen beds at only $199. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com, but only for 4 days starting on Thursday.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, as the draft does continue, when you look back at it, who do you think, or what do you think, was the best draft class of all time in the NHL?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's 2 options. There is the 1979 draft class, which was very, very good and very deep, and then the 2003 draft class. I think so far those would be the only 2. Just so anybody kind of refresh your memory, the first round of 1979, you had guys who were in that draft, Hall of Famers: Kevin Lowe, Michel Goulet, who else? Ray Bourque, Mike Gartner, and then they had a boatload of other guys who were pretty good players. Rick Vive, Craig Hartsburg, Kevin Brown, Laurie Boschman, Mike Ramsey, Paul Reinhardt, Brian Propp, Brad McCrimmon, Jay Wells played 1,000 games, Dwayne Sutter. The only guy, the fewest games played of any first rounder that year was 238, Ray Allison. And he still had 157 points in 238 games. But then you just go deeper and you look at that whole draft. So I guess I probably would have to pick, that was Messier in the 4th round, Dale Hunter, Guy Carbonneau, Glenn Anderson, Neil Broughton. Like, my goodness, if you look just at point guys, like there's some huge point totals from that draft class. So I guess I'll go with 79, followed closely by 03.
Yeah, I can't really argue with that one. Looking at 2015, there's only 4 players who haven't played at least 150 games yet. 2 of them are 29 and 30, and 2 of them are picks of the Boston Bruins, who, if you look back, I mean, they passed on Barzal, Kyle Connor, Shabbat, Svechnikov, Eric Sinek. They missed a lot of great players there. So the top end talent, we know McDavid, Eichel, Marner, those guys. But I think if that continues, hey, maybe they can get in their conversation. But I'm not going to argue. I love the 2003 class. Now, question number 2 for you. Any big surprises or takeaways from the Hall of Fame class of 2025?
None for me. I think this is one where you can say, hey, I understand why they get in. Carey Price could get in. Well, who are you going to take out? Right? Chara, Keith, Thornton. They're all really good players. And they had longer careers than Carey Price. And I think that's probably the deciding factor why they got in before him. McGillney was long overdue to get in. So I like the decision.
I'm with you. I mean, I guess the one surprise I would say, because I think we've asked this question every year since I've been a part of the show, and every year it's been Alexander McGillney. So that was a bit of a surprise to see him get in there. Not that he didn't deserve it, but what took so long? So that would be the one for me. But no, I think they did a really good job with these selections. Question number 3 for you. St. Louis Blues releasing some new uniforms earlier today. What do you think of the look?
Yeah, I don't mind the, you know me. I'm not the big jersey guy, but I don't mind it. At all. It looks it looks solid. I will say that I quite like the blue one. Right, the note looks really cool on front. It's solid blue with the yellow outline, and then minimal stripes on the sleeve. I really like the blue one.
I'm with you. I think this is a great look. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Heritage Classic or the outdoor game. Maybe it was Stadium Series, whatever it was. They had a really good lighter blue, and it looks like they're kind of leaning into that with this one. If you're watching on the YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, you can see it. We've got it up there. But yeah, I think they did a really good job with this one. And full credit to the St. Louis Blues. Now, tonight you got Canada, El Salvador meeting at the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Canada coming in at minus 625 favorites over at Play Alberta. They're pretty big favorites. What is your prediction for this one?
Minus 625.
Yeah, I thought at minus 425 elsewhere, but Play Alberta really likes Canada tonight.
Okay. I think Canada got a little bit of a wake-up call last game, so they will bounce back with a win tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's maybe similar to what we saw game one. Bit of a statement. Wouldn't surprise me to see them go up 4 or 5 goals in this one and just try to get back to what they were doing previously. My final question for you today, Mindy Kaling celebrating her birthday. Of course, she's been in a lot. I always think of her as Kelly from The Office. So when you think of sitcoms or just TV shows in general, and you have not the main character, I don't want to say like the smaller roles, but essentially that's it. The ones who maybe aren't the main characters, who would be your top 3?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go, King of the Hills, one of my favorite shows. It's coming back. So Dale Gribble, I think he's one of the funniest guys out there with the conspiracy theories. I know he's, part of the kind of the main cast, but he's not Hank or Peggy or Bobby. So I'm going to say Dale Gribble for me. The Vulture from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's only in it like maybe 1 or 2 episodes a season. He's hilarious. He just comes in. He's one of the most dislikable people out there. And then my final would be from The Sopranos, Paulie Walnuts. Just the stereotypical looking mobster, tough guy when he needs to be, funny as well, comedic relief. So those would be my top 3.
Okay, so it's not the main character.
Not the main character.
But like, what if you won like best supporting actor? Is that too much?
I'd be okay with that.
Okay, well then obviously I'm going Kramer. So I wanted to double Kramer, George. God, like those 2 as supporting characters. You kidding me? It's hard not to like them. The other one I would take after that now, because he wasn't considered the main guy, but wouldn't Barney Stinson then from How I Met Your Mother, would he qualify?
I'll allow it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd probably go with Barney then.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not the main character, it's a pretty vague term. You could use like, I don't know, Gunther from Friends. If you were like a fan of him, I'd say you could use that as someone who just kind of rarely pops up, but there's some good ones out there.
Oh yeah. There's, you know what? And it's hard. Like Kelly was, well, to me, like who, well, obviously Michael was the main character. And like, where was Dwight? Would Dwight be 2, or was like Jim and Pam 2 and then he's 3 and 4? Like, because God, if we're picking The Office, man, like Dwight Schrute is unbelievable in that show. Like, but he's in it a lot. So like, because you kind of, when you walk in the room, you see Pam, you see Jim, and you see Dwight, right? Like, you see them the most. And I did learn afterwards that Kelly and Ryan, because they were writers, the reason the reason their desk wasn't in the main area is so when they were doing some scenes, they were in the back area writing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's why Toby was back there too. So
okay, yeah, oh yeah,
I learned that after.
Great.
Yeah, so that was a great show, man. I'd watch it again for sure. Okay, you need it. Some days you're just like, I just need something to make me laugh. There's guaranteed a few Seinfeld episodes that 1000% will make you laugh. Same in The Office, like Automatic and South Park.
Yeah,
there's a few South Park episodes. Good. Oh my goodness, I don't care. But when the What's a Lesbian episode is one of the greatest episodes of all time. It is so funny. And my wife, she had a few friends, Sam and Tina, that they're lesbians, and I watched that episode with them, and they were dying as much as I was. So that's when you knew. I was like, all right, like this, I find it really funny. They find it just as funny, which was awesome. It was so hilarious. God, just carving the whole. Do you know what episode I'm talking about, Cons?
I've seen it. Yeah, I'm not a diehard South Park fan, but I've like dabbled in a few episodes that my friends make me watch. So
that's just like they could get away with like things that, normally like it's okay to have a little bit of black humor and have some fun, no question. And I thought South Park would, they would go into that sometimes, and it was hilarious. Oh, but that episode is one of the best. Hey boys, Leahy from Trailer Park. Oh, that's a good one. That is a real good one. Randy Marsh.
He was great.
Oh, yeah. There's another one. Hey, guys, what about Louis Litt from Suits? Oh, God, Louis. He was a really likable or hateable character that you kind of like, though. He was pretty good. Now, a lot of people, Cousin Richie from The Bear. I've never seen The Bear. Have you seen it, Cons?
No, I watched one episode. The person I was watching with got too much anxiety from it.
What?
Yeah, I guess it's hectic to some people.
What do you mean it's hectic?
It's a busy show in the kitchen. I know our intern Josh really likes it, and he's even saying hectic.
But what do you mean? Like, so I don't even know the premise of the show. What's the show about?
Well, the one I saw, he's a chef working in a kitchen, and then I believe in the second episode he starts starting his own restaurant. No, new kitchen.
I think I think I've actually seen one or two episodes now that I just Googling as we speak here. So I've seen the main character because he always looks like he's sleepy. He's got like the sleepy eyes.
Oh, he works in the
the
restaurant industry.
Okay.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Okay.
But like your text already coming in. Tim says it is so busy but so good. Jordan says my wife won't watch it. Too much going on in the first episode. It never slows down.
Hey boys, what about Peterman? Hey, well, if we're going like characters that just came in every now and then, Peterman was unbelievable. But what about Newman? Right? Like Newman was phenomenal. How do you be like a secondary antagonist? It was brilliant. Right? Oh, the best is when Jerry's dating a girl and it's Newman's ex. Jerry just can't handle it. Oh, but hey, Seinfeld had some unbelievable characters that only popped in every now and then. That was probably maybe one of the best parts of the show. Right? What about Bookman? Wasn't around very long, but Bookman might be the greatest single season one episode character of all time. Greatest name as ever as well. But when he gives his speech to Jerry in his apartment, we might have to play that again. Because God, like we should get a librarian on the show. That might be one of the greatest monologues ever in comedy history. And Putty, another one. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Soup Nazi? No soup for you. Like how many of you have said that line at some point? You've done it. I know you have. It's impossible not to. It's very repeatable. It's very memorable. It's very easy. Hey guys, Barbara from SVU. Ooh, all right. Hey guys, what about Marky Funkhauser on Curb? Rest in peace, Super Dave. Guys, Berta from 2.5 Men, best supporting character. She was funny, actually. She was very funny. That's a good one. Hey guys, what about the greatest one ever? Barney Rubble. Huh. Remember his laugh? That's the old classic Barney Rubble laugh. I haven't watched a Flintstones episode in a long. I don't like. Would Flintstones age well? Is it still like? Can you get it anywhere? I mean, like that's got to be on one of the streaming services, isn't it? Like I would think. I just wonder. Like, I'd like to see another episode of the Royal Order of the Water Buffaloes or whatever it was called. I can't remember it, but God, remember their hats? I just remember like I wanted one of those hats just to be part of the club. Something kind of cool about those clubs. Like it's never. You just kind of get to wear the outfit. You show up at the club. Right? It's like in The Simpsons, they have theirs, but it's a little bit better. So I've never been part of a club like that. Like I've been part of a hockey team, but I've never been part of like a club like that. All right. Like I thought about it when I was a kid. Like they had like the Knights of Columbus. Thought about it. Never ended up doing it when I got to be an adult. So, but they didn't really have they didn't have like a wardrobe. At least not in Beaumont that I saw. So
you could start one.
We should start a club.
The Stonecutters of Edmonton.
Ooh, God. You know what? Just for the meetings alone, it would be amazing because guys would want to be like, hey. And the great part is if you could get a club and you had secrets and like a secret handshake that nobody ever knew or something you had. So it was very secretive. Now we're talking, Cons. That would be unbelievable. I think because guys love guy time. That's a fact. It's so funny. Like there's just something about it. When you can hang out with your buddies, like I will tell you this, the minute I get in my vehicle, when I know I'm leaving to go on a guy's trip, I'm instantly in a good mood. Like the minute I leave my garage, and there's nothing against your family, nothing against it. I don't even know how I can describe it properly, but I think every guy out there knows what I'm talking about. You have your annual guys golf trip. I don't even care if you're going out for guys night. It might just be wings on a Tuesday. You automatically know you're going to have fun. And sometimes you'll talk about nothing. Or you'll relive the same stories, and it doesn't matter. They're still funny. It is one of the greatest things that guys do is you get together for your guys. Like I'm planning one of our buddies, JR, who was, at the They had a baby this year, so a little bit later in life. And he was always like, Mr. Organizer of everything. Now he has a newborn, and I'm like, now you can't organize? Like, what are you talking about? The kid's sleeping all the time. But it's hilarious because he was out partying way more. Now he isn't, but suddenly he doesn't have time. So I'm organizing the golf trip. And I will tell you that even though it's a pain to organize it, it's totally worth it because I'm like, there's 16 guys. We're going golfing. We got the limo booked. We're going here. We're going, and it's unbelievable. I'm like, I don't even care how I golf. I just know that for 3 days, I'm going to have a great time. And it is something that should be required in your life. I hope that whenever guys get married, because we had, I'm not sure my wife. I'm like, what are you talking about? If your wife doesn't understand the importance of guy time, you got to fill her in, and it should be like in your vows, honey. And I want you to have girl time too. Don't get me wrong. Whatever you girls do that makes your girl time fun, awesome, great. Go. I probably don't understand it, right? I probably don't understand. It's different. What guys do can be the most simplest thing. You spend hours together, weekends together. It's unbelievable, right? How many of you are doing it right now? You're planning your trip. It's awesome. You go on road trips for Oilers games. You go on road trips for Elks games, whatever you do. And when it becomes a regular thing, Cons, like, do you have any like go-to annual trips with your buddies?
No, not anymore.
What?
No, we don't. I mean, I still see my friends. Like, we watch football together
Doesn't
Sundays.
matter.
But
Okay, that's good. But you guys got to do it. I'm telling you, you will come back. Now you'll be tired and you might need to sleep, but it reinvigorates you. And there's studies done on this, gents. You don't ever, your buddies that you had in college, high school, whatever, early 20s you become friends with, hung out with, keep together. I'm telling you, you'll never have a bad time. Ever. Super fun. And even if you do have a bad time, that turns into the next time a good time because you laugh about the bad time, which is rare. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing continues now at GMC. You can get a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Ultimate Denali and save up to $10,000. Only at your Alberta GMC dealers.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
the Hockey Hall of Fame will have 8 new members later this year with Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander McGillney, Jennifer Botterill, Brianna Decker, Jack Parker, and Dale Savjo chosen to be the inductees. Ceremony goes in November out in Toronto at the Hockey Hall of Fame. The Riverhawks back on the road tonight, kicking off a series in Victoria against the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35. Right now, Jay's up on the Guardians 2-0 in the top of the second. Boston, Atlanta, Brooklyn finalizing a 3-team trade will send Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks, Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick to the Nets, and George Niang to the Celtics along with a second-round selection. Earlier today, Pelicans trading C.J. McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick in Wednesday's draft. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit
Jason Gregor, Connor
$20
Halley.
or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat, dripping.
Sports 1440, Oilers Nation.
Your AC can't compete, so you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell Legacy without AC.
Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Summer Drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$401 1440 833 1440. The Gregor Show is always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game and use the promo code Gregor50 at PlayAlberta.ca. And you can use the odds boosts, different ones every day. You look at the opportunity. The Elks, pretty big underdog, and understandably so. But when you get an odds boost, you get really good odds if you think the Elks can pull off a big upset. Check it out at playalberta.ca. Now, the Spec Report was always brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. You want to work for a fantastic company that's not just a job that can lead into a career, because they love starting out and promoting from within. They've had many employees who started out just at the bottom, just kind of, elementary role. And multiple years later, they have moved up the corporate ladder and now are in positions of being decision makers. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great, brother. How you doing, Jay?
Good. Hey, do you got like an annual guy that you still go out and do stuff with every year? Like whether, camping, golfing, soccer, curling, anything?
A guy?
Like guys, like a group of guys that you go with?
Well, I have a group of guys that I like to play golf with. Does that count?
Okay,
I got a couple guys I like going skiing with. Okay. My buddy John Corbanic's one of them.
Right.
I got a group. My buddy Pete Blazik's one of them. He puts together a group every Tuesday. They golf all the time, and then they keep it. When I'm free with hockey and ready to go, my phone starts ringing and go, "Hey, get out here, golf with us." So
okay,
that's kind of my thing.
A little bit.
A little bit. Why? What are you talking about?
Well, we were just talking about guys' road trips and the importance of just hanging out with guys and how you can't really describe it. But I leave the house and I'm automatically in a good mood knowing that I'm going on guy time. It's great.
No, that's for sure, man. And the women out there, the wives who are listening, got to know that it means a lot to the guy and vice versa. I know a couple of guys who are like, "Well, my wife's not going on a trip." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" First of all, she goes on a trip with her girl. She has a great time. Second of all, she's gone and you're at home and you're having a great time.
It's a
win-win.
It's a win-win for both sides, I'm sure. He's like, get me away from this guy for a few days. It's a win for everybody. I agree wholeheartedly. The Hockey Hall of Fame class, Spec, probably the first time in a long time. Really no hard discussions here, debates. You're like, okay, Carey Price didn't get in. He'll get in. But Alex McGillney, it's a long time coming. He's in, and then Thornton Char and Duncan Keith. They just had longer careers than Carey Price, and it's probably why they get in before him.
Yeah, absolutely. All those guys, you're right. The guy that we argued the most about over the past few years was always Alex, right? He's been a guy that I would say it's fair to probably say he's been overdue. And now that he's in, we got no one to fight over anymore, unless they keep Carey Price out for a long time. But, Price he'll get in. I mean, I was trying to think, Jay, it's sort of about being one of the very best in your craft during your prime. And certainly Carey Price was the best goalie in hockey for several years during his prime, right? He was the guy, Team Canada Olympic goalie. I know he didn't win a cup, but that's not a fair barometer to just hang it on that for my way of thinking. What do you think?
Yeah, I never look and, this guy didn't win a cup. He's not a Hall of Famer. Like, I'll say this. If Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl never win a Stanley Cup, they're both surefire first ballot Hall of Famers. Joe Thornton just became a Hall of Famer in his first try. Didn't win a cup. So I don't think you need to win a cup to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's I'm still believe that teams win cups and teams have good players, but ultimately you need a good team to win the Stanley Cup. An individual cannot win it on his own. It's impossible.
Hey, nobody knows that better than an Oiler fan, right? They got two great players here, and there's no Stanley Cups yet. However close they've been, we realize, there's always a little more to it than having. You might have the two best guys on the ice every night, even up. Yes,
no,
absolutely. It's a box you check. You can goal check, right? I was the best player, or one of the best players in my school. Check. I won a cup. Check. But you don't have to check every box. Like, there's a ton of guys in there that never won a cup.
Oh God, yeah, no, 100%. Are you walking in the forest right now? What are you doing?
No, buddy, I'm golfing. So I'm standing on a golf course, not playing golf, talking to you and all the great listeners at 1440.
All right.
I'm doing my best to stay out of the wind.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There's a little windy out there, so it's all good.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
No, it's fine. How are you shooting? Have you hit the fairway yet?
No, I'm about 15 holes in. I'm waiting for my first one.
Oh.
I told Carius it's my first round of the year, right? Because I've been kind of busy. I told Carius this morning, I said, my first round of the year, I'm playing the Quarry. He goes, oh, man, he says 5.5 ball over under. That's what you're going to use today, 5.5 balls. Well, I got to 5.5 balls on about the 9th hole. I put 2 in the water on 9. I think it was 5 and 6 balls. So,
hey, it's not you're not taking the easy route for your first round of the year.
No, it's beautiful out here. I mean, it's beautiful, but I won't lie to you. It's a test of golf that my game is not ready for yet. Who cares, right?
Yeah, well, it could be worse.
It could be worse. I'm standing on a golf course with my buddies playing golf, having a great day.
Yeah. Now, Spec, some other news. You look at we talked about it yesterday, the Elks. So we had Mark Corte on earlier. They got the injury at center now. So Beard comes out, Corte's in. They're going into Winnipeg. Like, my God, if the Elks win this game, it'll be a massive shock. Let's call a spade here. Winnipeg's 5-time in a row they made it to the Grey Cup. They're still a really good team. Really good at home. The Elks are kind of struggling. And so if you don't win, what do you need to see progress in your eyes this weekend in Winnipeg?
What do I need to see? The Elks?
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I need to see? I'd like to see a little more of a sustained drive. Like the Elks I've been watching so far have drives that go from 30 to the 55 and then they peter out. I'd like to see some sustained offense. I'd like to see a quarterback that's not afraid to go downfield earlier in the game. How about that? I can't say that I watched the first game of the year, the BC game, but I attended the second one, and that's sort of what I didn't mind his protection. I thought his O-line gave him time. In that instance, I didn't love I thought defensively, Montreal, they say, is a very good team. I guess I'll just believe them. Everyone says they're the class of the East. I thought they picked apart that defense pretty good, didn't you, in Commonwealth? Oh, God, yeah. Like in Commonwealth, I was surprised at how passive the defense was. I thought their secondary, their corner guys were way off the ball all the time, and it was just leading to easy completions. So, listen, I don't know what their personnel's like if they don't feel like if they can man up and play tight. I mean, if not, it's going to be a long season, but I'd like to see them, challenge a little more on defense. I thought they just gave away the 8-9 yard pass for free all day long. I mean, Montreal didn't love that. Well, it's Winnipeg, so the one thing we're going to get is a crowd, right? Winnipeg, you're going to get a crowd. It's maybe, they're in Saskatchewan or the last of the Mohicans here, Jay. They fill that stadium, and there's kids at games in Winnipeg, and it's still a big deal in the city. And I hate to say it, but Edmonton's got to catch up to that because we don't have the same atmosphere here, and our 15, 16-year-old kids aren't walking around wearing Elks gear the way they are wearing Bombers gear in Winnipeg.
Yeah, no, that is totally valid. It's something they have to improve on, no question. Wins will help. I think the Elks are doing a lot of things right off of the field, but ultimately you got to get to some wins, and that naturally brings people in. I've actually had a lot of people who went to the game. They're like, man, despite losing, the second half showed some excitement. They like it, but they like what they're doing in the building. Tailgating has really taken off. Like, it's a waiting list. You can't get a spot, right? So there are some signs here that I've always said this. I still believe it's a football town, and there's people that want to go, but some of them are like, I got to see it to believe it. I need to see some wins, and I understand. Now, if you were having one down season, that would be different. But you haven't won a game in June since 2019, and barring an upset, that's going to continue until 2026. So that's not ideal. And it's a crazy stat, but they lose to Winnipeg. I will say that the next game against Ottawa is like a huge must-win, just for kind of the sanity of the organization. You're at home against an Ottawa team who's not that good. That'll have to be a game that you have to find a way to get a win if you're the Elks. Now, I want to ask you, Spec, Olivier Rodrigue. So the Oilers got 5 guys who need to send a qualifying offer to. Bouchard's an obvious one. Noah Phillips, an obvious one. The 2 guys in the American League, Wright is not going to get Cam Wright, won't get qualified, and I don't expect that Jacob Perreault will get qualified. So that leaves Olivier Rodrigue. They've got Connor Unger, who's 23. He got hurt in the ECHL playoffs. I don't think he'll be ready to start next season. You got Nathaniel Day, who was their 2023 draft pick. He's turning pro. They also got Samuel Johnson, who was their 22 draft pick. He's coming over from Europe. Do you think they qualify Olivier Rodrigue?
If I am Stan Bowman, or more so maybe Keith Gretzky, right? He'd have a large say in this because he runs Bakersfield. The first thing I would do is I would ask Olivier Rodrigue, do you want us to qualify you? And I don't know, what do you think that answer would be?
God, that's a really good question. Well, if you'd rather get qualified and have a contract than not have a contract, right? There's no guarantee you'll get a contract elsewhere.
Agents at work already. Like, my point would be, he's just so far down the ladder, he's never going to play here. Skinner's a starter. He's 26. They're looking for another goalie out there. They got Pickard on a contract for another year. He's the number 4 goalie probably in this organization. He's been in this organization since the day he was drafted. So if I'm Olivier Rodrigue, I want to start fresh somewhere else. So the first thing I do is I ask Olivier Rodrigue, you want us to qualify you, or do you just want to go? Because I can go find another 4th goalie in my organization somewhere, can't I? It can't be that hard. So that's my first thing. And I guess if he wants it, at this point, if I've decided, and I think we've decided, Olivier Rodrigue's not going to become part of the Oilers' future, do we think that we want Unger to play minutes that Olivier Rodrigue would take from him when he is healthy? What do you think?
Yeah, that's why I don't know if I'd ever ask the player, because hey, do you want us to qualify you? And the player says yes, and you're like, okay, well, we're not going to qualify you. So
no, I would say before I even make our decision, I want to give you the chance to say, I'd rather go elsewhere, please. That's all I'm saying. That's what I would say. I'd say, look, before we even, maybe I assume the Oilers already know if they want him or not. If they don't want him, you don't qualify him. If I do kind of want him, I'm going to say, Olivier, what do you think? The guy's been a good soldier is all I'm trying to say, right? They drafted him. He's been in the minors, and in the minors, he never got a shot. He finally came up this year. He got a game at the end. He was a black ace goalie every year, but he's got no future. If he was my son or my client, I would say, Olivier, let's try a new organization. Like, let's go somewhere else. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, probably. right? Because hey, man, it's hard. Like I always said it. Like hey, goaltenders, it's really difficult because there's limited spots, and then size is a factor in goal. Like there's a rare group of guys who can be 6 feet and under and have success in the way the game's played. It's just really hard.
And his dad's a professional goaltending coach in the Florida organization, so it's not like he needs a couple of radio guys giving him guidance here. His dad's a professional goalie coach. He knows everything that's going on. He knows all the goalie people everywhere, right? He knows who's getting the job where. Those guys are interconnected, man. They know everything about the goalie fabric out there. So Olivier Rodriguez in good hands. My only question sort of becomes not how old would he be? Would he be 24?
24.
So he's probably not long from taking a job in Europe. Is that fair? I'm not trying to dump on the kid, but it might be next stop Lugano here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, that's valid. Spec, we'll let you get back to looking for your ball. And
I only missed one hole, so I'm going to give myself a par. It might be my best hole of the day. Let's keep talking.
Awesome. Have a good one, Spec. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
There you go. It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Quick break. When we come back, DVD will join us. And you got a lot of texts coming in on and hey, it's the reality every offseason. Some guys aren't going to get qualified, and there'll be players on other teams around the league who won't get qualified, and other teams are going to sign them at decent deals. So that's something we've seen lately to watch for. Now there is more cap space this year, so maybe teams are a little less quick to want to not qualify guys, but I bet you'll see 8, 9, 10, 12 guys at least who don't get qualified between now and Sunday night. Take a quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at the Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals, like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sectionals. Queen beds start at only $199. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $499 or more. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
At Fitted Golf, we know that you continue to believe.
It's not my clubs, really. It's my swing.
Except it's already June, and you're still not playing the game you want because you continue to insist it's not your clubs. Except it really is your clubs, and we prove it every day. Fitted Golf customers continue to be amazed at how good they actually are when they use the right clubs for their swing. Why would you play the game you love but not love the way you play it? From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Visit fittedgolf.ca.
From Lloydminster to Lacrete, from Lethbridge to Lake Louise, and everywhere in between in this beautiful province, for almost 40 years, Alberta Dreams has been bringing joy and hope to seriously and chronically ill children. We've brightened the lives of over 1,200 families by giving them precious moments of happiness that create lasting memories beyond their challenging days. Please visit albertadreams.ca today and become part of something truly special for these deserving kids in our province. Alberta Dreams, a child, a wish, a dream come true.
The dog days of summer means baseball. Every weekend, Sports 1440 carries Toronto Blue Jays ball games. Ben Shulman will have the call. Grab a cold one and tune in this weekend to Blue Jays baseball on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. Sherbrooke is a house of curiosities, a mom and pop, a curated experience that is equal parts wine tastings and 2-4s for May long. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through a lovely Tuesday afternoon as you make your way home. Serenity now, a little calm. It's nice out. It's summertime. I know someone the other day was saying how they think summer's the worst season. I'm like, what? That's got to be somebody who maybe lives in a climate that's like too hot, like Arizona, Texas, where you're just like in a sweat box all the time. Summer in Alberta, man? Are you like, there's the odd day when it's 33 and you're like, whoosh, it's pretty hot out there. But most days, you kidding me? Light out all day, sunny, nice temperatures. I don't see how you can't like summer. Like, that's an odd one to me. And I don't love being hot, but in the summertime, I don't ever find it that hot where it's just like, oh, this is too hot for me. So it's good. Jays, they were pretty good for a while. They're trying to get back on the winning side of things on a little bit more of a consistent basis, and they're off to a good start tonight, which is good at 2-0 against the Gardien through 2 innings. Let's talk some hockey, some football, some soccer. Derek Van Diest joins us once again from NHL.com, longtime, of course, writer for soccer as well. DVD, how are you, my man?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Well, I see in your back corner there. Was it the World Cup photo on your over your right shoulder or what?
Yeah, it's the World Cup final. Yeah. I was at the World Cup final. That didn't get my press passes there. Yeah, and my ticket to the final. So that was me before the World Cup final, 2022 in Qatar.
Ooh, geez. Speaking of hot, how hot was it in Qatar?
You know what? It wasn't bad. The game started at like 8:00 at night, so the sun had gone down, so it wasn't too bad. And believe it or not, the stadiums were all air conditioned, so it was kind of interesting. Like
really?
People they didn't go out during the day because during the day it was like 30 degrees, so no one did anything during the day. But it was winter there, so it got kind of dark around 5 or 6, and then people started coming out once the sun went down because it's a desert. Once the sun goes down, it cools off quite a bit.
Wow, it's crazy to think wintertime is plus 30.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Hey, let's talk about the match tonight. What are you expecting from Canada against El Salvador? And were you at all concerned, or was it just a blip on Saturday?
I was a little concerned. You watch that game and you're like, come on, let's go, get it together. And they get, there was 2 goals that were called back from Curacao, and you're thinking, okay, get it together. Like it's just one of those things that they just couldn't find a rhythm. They couldn't find. Once they scored the goal, I thought, okay, they're gonna roll here like they did, in the first game, and then they just couldn't find the rhythm, and then they had an injury, and then it wasn't a great performance at all. So They got a chance to kind of make up for it here, get together, and put in a good, solid performance because they go into this tournament as one of the favorites. A lot of people have picked Canada to win this tournament, just the way how badly the United States is playing, and Mexico's a mess. And so, they're thinking, okay, this is a good opportunity for Canada, and particularly the way they started out with a 6-0 win. So, it was just one of those. It was just a bad performance. They just couldn't get it right. They just couldn't get things going for them. So luckily, it wasn't disastrous because all they need is a point, and then they'll get through the next round. and they should be able to do that if they go and play up to their standards, up to the way that they're capable of playing. I think Canada should be okay tonight.
Now, the ramifications for the World Cup. If you win the Gold Cup, how much higher of a ranking, or does it have any impact for them?
No, that should have an impact because the host teams will kind of get a higher ranking in the draw. So that should be okay because they're a host team. It shouldn't really impact them. If they weren't hosting, and then that ranking would be important because of the different pots they put you in, and then the different balls they draw out. But as one of the hosts, I think they'll have their own kind of group, and they'll have an easier group than they would, let's say, they had in Qatar. Qatar, they had a really tough group, or they had somewhere else. So it doesn't really matter. But I think this tournament is really important for Canada to kind of prove that they're not just going to go and show up at the World Cup, lose their 3 games, and go home. Like, they can win some games. They can kind of move into the second round of the tournament and kind of go from there. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, it's as far as the World Cup goes, there's not a lot of ramifications for that.
Okay. Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, we've now had some time. You decompress. The Oilers lose their second consecutive Stanley Cup final. And now we, turn pretty quickly. You've got free agency right around the corner. A week today it starts. You've got the draft. I know the Oilers don't have anybody on, in the first 2 rounds. But Evander Kane, Arvidsson, do you expect any other deals between now and free agency for the Oilers?
Well, that's a good question because I think it's funny because they have to figure out what number they're going to sign Bouchard at, and they got to figure out what number they obviously want to bring Emerson, not Emerson. They want to bring Frederick back, and so I think once you start figuring out those numbers, then you can start, wiggling and making moves. Like, I think Arvidsson. The thing about Arvidsson, he came in here. He thought he's going to be a big part of this organization, going to get a good opportunity. And you should have seen him morning skate of Game 6. You know how guys kind of jump into line rushers? He just stood at center. He's like, I'm not playing. I'm just going to stand here the whole morning skate. Like, it was quite interesting. Everyone knew he wasn't in the lineup because he wasn't in a morning rush, and he just stood there. Like you said, he was really upset that he wasn't playing that game. So I'd be probably doubting his future with this organization. And so, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, what happens with Kane. But I don't expect too much tinkering to go on with this lineup. Like, they were 2 games away from winning the Stanley Cup. They're going to bring back, the guys that they think they bring back, they want to bring back. They know they have some UFAs here. But I don't think you need to do too much. You got to tinker here and there, but you have a solid core. You have your core players still coming back. And I don't expect the Oilers to make a big splash. You look at their, they got to pick in the 3rd round. So they're going to sit the Friday out. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if there can be any deals made or anything like that. Give me an interesting draft because it's kind of like the NFL this year where everyone's kind of in their own home base and their own, war rooms at home. And then they'll have a one representative, whatever, at the draft. The Oilers probably didn't send anyone because there's no need to. And then you gotta, instead of going up and talking to a GM and saying, "Hey, how about this? How about this?" You're gonna have to call GMs again, and that I wonder if that will make less trades or more trades. It'll be interesting to see how this all develops. I know they're gonna go back to the old system next year, but it's gonna be interesting to see how the system works this year. Because before you could just walk up to a table and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" As you're walking up to make your pick, we've seen that a lot, and now you're gonna have to work the phones to see if. Before you make your pick to see if anything happens. So I'm interested to see if anything shakes down trade-wise on draft day.
Well, I think the Oilers trades, like a guy like Arvidsson, you trade, maybe you get a draft pick. Evander Kane, another one. Now Kane's, you know what? Because ideally while you're the Oilers, you want to move those guys before free agencies because otherwise teams are going to go out then and spend up all their cap space and then they don't have any left, right? Although some might argue and say, hey, maybe we wait. And because these teams are like, oh, I'm going to try to get Brock Besser, or, I'm picking, goal scoring wingers. Some are going to be like, hey, we're going to get Mitch Marner. And then guess what? Only one team gets Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
And then maybe the Evander Kane one waits until afterwards because the teams who strike out on Besser and Marner are saying, well, hey, I still got some cap space. So now I'll go look and I'll acquire Evander Kane, who, like, it's not like Evander Kane can't play. The Oilers don't have any cap space. That's their problem.
Yeah. And then you got to throw Corey Perry in that mix too, right? You let him go to the free market, like to get to July 1st, and teams are gonna throw him on. Like Perry had a great season this year. He helped you get to the Cup final the last 2 years. Is this a guy? How important is this guy to your organization? So you throw him in the mix, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, you want to make these deals before while teams are available and have money to kind of put these guys under the salary cap, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be interesting how obviously the Mitch Marner thing's gonna fall, and then everything else will kind of fall into place with that. He's the big fish in the market right now. I'll be interested to see how active the Oilers are in free agency and how big they go and what they try to bring back here.
Yeah, like you can always look, and you never know. I don't rule out anything, but to add anybody with any significant number, they're going to have to move out salary because they just don't have any cap space. Like it's just you can see the numbers at Cap Wages and Puckpedia. It's not hard to see how much or how little cap space they just truly have, right? So it's not. I don't see it being that big of a decision really, because they simply don't have any decisions to make. They don't have a lot of cap space.
Yeah, no, it's true, and you got to try and free some up if you can, and that's kind of the reality of being a contending team. Is a lot of contending teams don't have the cap space, right? And it's gonna be interesting to see if they get creative or not, or if they can get creative. I'm not sure how creative you can get, but yeah, if you can move Arvidsson and Kane, then yeah, you create some room to bring some other people in.
Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD for fun. Where do you think Mitch Marner goes?
That's a good question. It depends what he wants. Like, does he wants to go and play for a contender without the heat? Then maybe he goes to Carolina. Maybe he goes to Vegas. Maybe what's going on in Anaheim? Like, are they kind of clearing up space? To kind of bring him in there. I think those are the big three teams that I've heard. Anaheim, Vegas, and Carolina. I don't know if you're Mitch Marner. You kind of get lost in Carolina. No one will see you play in Carolina. It's not a big market there. Vegas would be a pretty good place for him. They'd have to obviously move some money and move some pieces around to get him in there. But I'm really interested in what Anaheim does now. Obviously, they made the trade last night. They got Quinville there now, so they're kind of trying to expedite that rebuild and get things going in a hurry. They got two goalies now. I'll be surprised if they have both of them back. They might move John Gibson because looks like Dukas Stockstall is going to be their number one guy moving forward. So yeah, that'd be a good destination for him as well. So he's going to get some offers. He's going to get the chance to weigh those offers, but I think one of those three teams, I think, if he's interested in kind of still competing for the Stanley Cup, still winning, which I think he is. He doesn't want to go somewhere where he's just going to make a lot of money and never win. I think he wants to go somewhere where he has an opportunity to win. And to me, those three would be those destinations.
DVD, have yourself an awesome night. Any fun? Give me your fun prediction score tonight for Canada, El Salvador.
Oh, I think it'll be either 2-1 or 3-1 Canada tonight. I think they'll really have a good game. El Salvador doesn't really have a very good team, so they beat Honduras 6-0, so they should be able to handle El Salvador. It'll be a time. They're playing in Houston, so you talk about hot.
Oh God,
yeah, that's hot. Like we were in Florida, and it was 30 with the humidity. It was like walking into a steam room at any time you walked outside, and then you walked into the freezing cold air-conditioned arenas, and you walk back outside, your glasses would get all fogged up. Like it was, that's uncomfortable hot and uncomfortable humidity there. But I think they'll win today. I think they'll win handily, and I think they'll have a good game.
Awesome, DVD. We'll talk to you next week, my man. Have a good one.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you later.
It's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. And I think Mitch Marner, I've said it for a while, I think the Vegas Golden Knights are planning to make a pretty big push for young Mitch Marner. That's my guess. Any thoughts? Let us know, 833-401-1440. We'll come back. We got a lot of texts, lots of questions to get to. We'll get to those and more when we return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th, 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours or call 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, that tune never gets old, baby, because you know we're near the end of the show. But hey, we always save the best for last. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We got a lot of texts coming in. Hey, fellas, annual boys camping trip already booked. I'm 30, and we still go every year from Levi. Yeah, I would hope so, man. Keep going all the time. It never gets old. Trust me. You will never regret going on a good fun guys trip. It is the best. The best. So, and Greg's just reminded me, I got a trip with my buddies. We've been humming and hawing over. We're locking it in now. It's true. Like, I think about it. Have you ever said, you know what? I really didn't have any fun this weekend. Like, unless you go with the group of friends that you don't really hang out with anymore. But if it's a good group of buddies, I can't think of the last time where I was like, you know what? That just wasn't very fun. Like, honestly, I can't think of it. Like, it changes. Like, our golf trip, we're not going to the club like we used to 20 years ago. But, we'll find a pub and, you still do a lot of other things. It's great. Now here, Nick M came in and we were talking earlier about great non-main characters. Mr. Furley from Three's Company. Excellent choice. Don Knotts was amazing. Even the Ropers. But Don Knotts was so funny in Three's Company. Cons, that's a little bit before your time. You probably never watched it, have you?
Haven't seen it, but know the character. He's hilarious. Like the actor, just looking at him. Like he looks funny.
He is funny. He was, but Mr. Furley in that show was Was the great. Hey, guys, Charles Emerson Winchester III from MASH in Newton Camrose. Oh, yes, Charles Emerson Winchester. Him and Hot Lips Hooligan, right? Right? Hot Lips Houlihan, not Hooligan. Hey, guys, what about the character you never saw, Bob Sacamano, Kramer's friend? Well, the legendary Bob, yeah, was great. Hey, guys, the vasectomy episode on Life in Pieces. Ooh, I haven't seen that. Life in Pieces. I think I might have seen an episode of that show. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. My wife watched it. I can't watch every show. It's hard, but I didn't. I think I watched an episode or two of it. It looked pretty good, but some shows you watch by, like concert shows you watch by yourself, right? Like The Bear, your wife doesn't watch that, and guarantee it.
Yeah, I actually don't watch that, but I will probably at some point. What's the Last of Us is one that I watch by myself. There's a few of them out there. Just like she watches some shows by herself. I'm not allowed to watch The Bachelor with her. She will not let me.
Is that because you mock it?
Yeah, and I just say I just comment on it. She's like, "You ruin it for me."
Yeah.
So whenever I walk in, she's watching it. She just turns it off.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. I can. My wife, and she's like, "It's my guilty pleasure." I'm like, "No problem," but I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I know some guys can. Good for you. I can't because I can't stop myself. I'm like, how can you watch this right now? This is just so stupid, right? And every episode seems the same. So, but everybody, I'm sure she's like, you watch sports all the time. I'm like, yeah, fair point. Fair point. Some people might think, watching sports is stupid. Obviously, it's not, but some people think it is. They got to question their life choices at that point. Is the way I like to look at it. If you're thinking sports is wrong, you're the problem. Sorry, it's just true. It's how it goes. So we'll see. But 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, curious why the Oilers and Bouchard don't have a contract yet? Are they worried about an offer sheet? Well, let's kind of break down a Bouchard offer sheet, right? I think the Oilers have it in their heads that he's going to get $10 million. So, what offer sheet could they make that would scare them off? So anything over 11.7 gives Edmonton 4 first-rounders, which I'm not sure they want. Now, would they love signing a contract for 11.71? No, it's not. But I think, so there's two things at play here. There might be a little bit of cat and mouse going on. So in the case of Bouchard and the Oilers, if it's a shorter term deal, it's a lower AAV, funny enough. But because in arbitration, I bet you if Bouchard went to arbitration, he'd get at least $9 million, at least. So there's two ways to look at it. So how it works here coming up is the Oilers will send him a qualifying offer. That's a no-brainer. That just guarantees that, he doesn't become a free agent, right? So obviously they're going to do that. Now, because he has arbitration rights, he then has until the 5th of July to file for arbitration. So he could wait 4 days. If somebody's serious about an offer sheet, they'd have 4 days to do it. Then he files for arbitration. Now, he might not file for arbitration because he's like, well, that keeps the window open longer for an offer sheet. Fair. Then that's where the Oilers side comes into play. Because if he doesn't file for arbitration on the 5th of July, then the Oilers can take him to arbitration on the 6th. They can file for it on the 6th if they want. And what they do by doing that is it guarantees that they get a contract for at least 1 or 2 years, right? Automatically. So it's short term. It's not great, but it guarantees you that, because if you don't file for arbitration and he doesn't file for arbitration, now you get to training camp, you don't have a deal. And Bouchard's like, well, I'll just sit out. You guys really want me to play, so I'll sit out and I'll wait, which is totally within his rights. So ultimately, I think that the two sides will come to an agreement. Will one pick arbitration? Because all picking arbitration, it doesn't guarantee you go to arbitration. But in the Oilers' case, it would take out an offer sheet. In the case of Bouchard, it guarantees he gets a contract, a pretty significant one, through arbitration. So there's no rush for them to have a contract done. I would actually probably be surprised if he got signed before June 30th, but that's just me. So they easily could do it. I don't think it's a major rush that they have to get it done at this point. So it's kind of where I come out on the Bouchard. There's no, I don't see it as a negative that he doesn't have a contract done yet today. So have yourselves a great Tuesday evening, everyone. Hey, terrific Tuesday, Cons. What's the code? Terrific 40% off for Papa John's?
40 Tuesday.
40 Tuesday. Is that what it is? 40 Tuesday now? All right. 40 Tuesday. Get some pizza. I love it. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical gear, think EWEL.ca. Have a great night. Oh, yeah. Rich Winter tomorrow. Business and Sport.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Hockey Hall of Fame will have 8 new members later this year. Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander McGillney, Jennifer Botterill, Brandon Decker, Jack Parker, and Danielle Savageau have been named as 2025 inductees. Ceremony goes in November out in Toronto. The Edmonton Riverhawks back in action tonight, kicking off a series in Victoria against the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35 in the association. Big trade today. Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn finalizing a 3-team deal that'll send Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks. Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick to the Nets, and George Niang and a second-rounder to the Celtics. Also, the New Orleans Pelicans trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th pick in Wednesday's draft. Tonight, you got Gold Cup action. Canada takes on El Salvador. That gets going at 8 o'clock. And in the majors, Jays up on the Guardians 3-0 in the 5th. Elsewhere, Rangers have a 3-0 lead over the Orioles, also in the 5th. Diamondbacks up on the White Sox 1-0. Later on this evening, the Dodgers in Denver taking on the Rockies. You have the Angels hosting the Red Sox, Nationals in San Diego, and the Giants host the Marlins. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it is Fox Sports Radio Live. Local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the Kevin Carius Show with Brandon Douglas and former NHLer David Schlemko. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to